NathanIvey.com. Mr. Ivey know the show must go on. And for Cincinnati, man, I put on. Tunes made another flame beat for me to cook on. Raised arms, close fists, yeah, too strong. Team AI, chop it up at the chop shop. Top notch with the king flow, the hot shot. Cop squats in, listen to the real. Jumping like hopscotch, nobody harder than, oh, no, think not. Not only citywide, but nationwide. Superlatives, keep it locked like them Haitian guys. Put the truth in the airways, we talk about it. Brand new like the templates, let's be about it. Who got the info by the AM? Jono be the rapper, got them jamming when they play him. Staying in my lane, they ain't gotta okay him. Who the host with the scoop? Yeah, they gon' say him. Ivy, so superlative like a bag of Drippos. Show you where the bricks at, Cincinnati Reds at. One time where my people at. Team NI where my people at. It's the 5-1-3, yeah, you know the flow. What's the word, Nate? Let them know the show. One time where my people at. Team NI where my people at.
Let's do it again. I think that our video stream got interrupted. So my people on the audio side of things, you might be thinking like, what the hell happened, Nate? I'm still here. Good morning to you. Let's get straight into it. A lot of stuff going on that I want to talk about with you today. Good morning to you. Good morning. I'm back. A little bit more of a hiatus than I really expected. I expected to be able to go live at least on Friday, and I'll say this again in case people missed it. You know, we were out of town for the holidays, and where we were, the internet wasn't working well enough for me to do a live stream. And even on my phone, I'm not sure what the hell was happening, which is very weird because cell phones have their own little connection to the network, but sometimes you got certain places in America that's like that, and you already know what it is. So yesterday I fully intended to do the show. I was prepared to do the show. I was sitting right here ready to hit that button. Internet was not working at home. I'm like, In fact, our whole system was acting kind of wacky. So we'll work on it. It's still acting up. So if we get interrupted this morning, my apologies. Some things are just out of my control. Even though I'm a very capable black man, good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. And I'm ready to talk, man. I'm ready. Typically, I'm all talked out after doing a 2.5, 3-hour show. I don't want to talk all day. I'm done with the talking. I let other people doing the talking. But I haven't talked with you in a week. It was a week ago today, the last time I did a broadcast, which is very unusual. You know, I'm the Iron Man of Cincinnati Talk Radio. We do's this. So it's a little bit different coming back. It's not really my flavor. Before we get too deep into the show, just a word from the day's sponsor, the folks over at the Ohio Kings. They have their first game coming up Saturday, December the 4th. That's this Saturday, December the 4th. Now, real quick, have you ever attended a Ohio Kings game? If you have never attended an Ohio Kings game, then I'm telling you, if you like basketball, then I think you'll find it to be a good time. Was it last season? Yeah, it was the last season. You know, we took the whole family, me, the wifey, our 2 children. We went. We had a good time. And I want to personally invite you out, and so do the good folks over at the Ohio Kings. Now, if you don't know, they play all of their games over at their home games at the Cincinnati State Technical and Community College, their facilities. $10 for general admission. Courtside VIP is $20. Here's what you get for $20 for courtside VIP. Now, first, you're courtside, so you get to see all the action up close. You know what I'm saying? You're right there. You also get free concessions. Kids under 12 are free, or kids 12 and under are free when accompanied by an adult. You can purchase the tickets at ohio-kings.ticketbud.com. You can also go to their website, Ohio Kings, and check them out. Free haircuts for all the children. And check this out. Mayor-elect Avtab Pureval will toss out the ceremonial jump ball. Masks are required. So if you're going to go, get yourself a good quality mask that you're comfortable to be in, and check out the Ohio Kings. I didn't even realize this. Ohio Kings versus Cincinnati movement. I had no idea there was a Cincinnati movement. I'll be honest with you. I had no idea until just a few days ago. But that sounds like a good time. What do you got going on the 4th? That is this Saturday, 6 p.m. Check them out. And you might even see yours truly there. Because, like I said, I had a good time. I like b-ball. And, as I'm teaching my son, I like this for him to see the game. And then it's just some family fun stuff. And I'll say it again for people that care about this kind of stuff. Ohio Kings are black owned. They are black owned. If you care about that kind of stuff, you might be like, I don't care about bah humbug. Bah humbug. Yeah, Scrooge I'll leave it like that. But y'all talk more about it throughout the show just to remind you. But the Ohio Kings are kicking off their season this Saturday. Of course, they didn't do it last year because of COVID, but they are back. And this is an open invitation to you, the Choppers, to come and check them out. Come check them out. $10 general admission. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So how was the Thanksgiving holiday? I know I got to do old stuff and go back to last week, but how was the Thanksgiving holiday? Did you get your fill of your food and your turkey and your dressing and all of that? Y'all might be wondering, Nate, did you maintain your dietary goals? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I watched the whole family smash. They smashed. And they all fell into food comas. And I was just sitting there like, they were smashing. And it wasn't difficult for me. It wasn't difficult for me at all because once I do something, I do it. It don't matter what the world is doing. If I make a decision, like I have made this decision, it doesn't really matter. Was I tempted? Man, they was grilling up some salmon like over the weekend. It wasn't on Thanksgiving. That was difficult. I'm like, a little bit. I won't say difficult. That was interesting, put it that way. It was an interesting moment. But overall, it was a good Thanksgiving. Got a chance to parlay with my in-laws, with my wife's side of the family. First Thanksgiving where my mother was not alive. So that I was definitely in my feelings over the weekend and over Thanksgiving. I definitely had some moments when I was kind of off by myself, kind of just thinking about Chairman Mom. Even though I didn't spend every Thanksgiving with Chairman Mom. I did not. I would go 2-3 weeks, sometime a month without speaking with Chairman Mom. But we had that connection, and just knowing that she was there was very, very comforting. So, that was the weekend. Everything went well. We, spent some family time. After my cardiac event last year, I told myself that I was going to invest more in relationships with the people around me, right? Because, life can be taken from you in an instant. I want to get to know the people around me a little bit better. So I did just that. I took those steps. We had a good time. It's always good when you see your kids playing with their cousins, their first cousins, like my wife's brother's children. You can just hear the kids playing. I love that, man. I love that. I know I'm a big old softy. Y'all know I'm a big old softy. But I love that. I love just hearing, you could just hear the kids playing. They was playing hard too, boy. They was playing hard. I don't know what they was doing. You hear kids jumping and laughing and playing. They playing hide and go seek. They running through the house. That's family, right? Like the adults is in the kitchen doing whatever the adults is doing, listening to Chris Brown and playing cards. We played a game called Culture Tags. It's called Culture Tags. It was pretty fun. I might play it with you here on the show. It was kind of fun. And then every once in a while, the kids will run through, right? You know what I'm talking about, that little cycle. And I just love that. I just love to hear the sound of little people having a good time, just enjoying their little lives and their little faces. And nothing better than that, man. I love that. So that was the holiday. I'm not really into all that Thanksgiving-ish because your damn savages came over here and stole other people's land. And now we're supposed to be all happy Thanksgiving about it. Bah humbug, screw all that. But in terms of unplugging from the matrix, the work matrix a little bit, and just using the time off, if you have time off to be with family, I'm here for that. Sign me up twice. Put my name there twice. I'm here for all of that. All that blah, 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 blah about the Pilgrims and the first Indians. You can take all that and flush it down the toilet, as far as I'm concerned. I don't want to hear none of that propaganda BS. I'm too old for that. But having said all of that, I mean, we had a good time. 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 And I was able to survive it. I'm not a big go over other people's. I'm good. I'm cool to like go other people's houses and like visit and then leave, but like stay and sleep on a mattress for days and days and sharing bathrooms. And that's not for me. My OCD kick in. I'll be like, who are these people? Why are we talking? At some point the conversation just goes old, right? It's like there's nothing else to talk about. So what you think about the Browns? Right? So, oh boy, you're just kind of sitting around, but I did what I needed to do. Tiff writes, I love to hear the laughter of kids as well. I live next to a home daycare and hear the kids play and laugh always makes my smile. Man, that is one of the most beautiful sounds in the universe. Just children just happy and safe and playing. I love that sound. I could just sit there and just listen. I mean, I could just grab me a little book and just sit there and just hear the kids' laughter and they're having a good time and they're running around and they're safe and they're just playing. I loves it. And then for my son who is 6, he ain't got no 6-year-olds in the house. We grown folks. We way past 6. The closest thing he got is his older sister who is 7, who is 16. She ain't got no time to play no games at 16. She'd be like, little brother, what's that? Like literally. She don't be on no little brother type stuff. So now he get a chance to be with his cousins that are like right at his age. I mean, like one is his age, the other's like a year older or younger. He was in heaven. He was in heaven. So you hear your child having a good time. I mean, when kids play really hard because they lay to bed and they're asleep within 5 minutes. Out like a light. I'm like, son, I look at him. He is done in 5 minutes. Sweat all over him, just playing. Oh my God, we should be so lucky, man. Kids got it so damn good. I want to play all day, but I want to play something different. As a grown man, the games I want to play something different. I want to play some different type of games. My hide and go seek is a little different. It's a little different these days than a 6-year-old. Fill in the blanks now. We grown folks. Fill in the blanks. Good morning to you. Yeah, I want to play hide and go seek. Let's go. Oh my God. What else happened over the weekend? I mean, nothing really remarkable. I mean, it was just your average Black family, get together. And it was pretty much it. There was nothing that really stood out or anything like that. Just had a good time. I was bummed that I wasn't able to get a strong enough connection to do the show on Friday because I was planning to do the show on Friday. And when you do this, after a while, your brain is always working on show prep. Like I never turn it off. Like the whole time I was doing this, I'm thinking about future flows and I'm connecting with guests and things like that. The hustle never stops. And, the work never stops. As a content creator doing this type of content, it's a 24/7 thing. It's 24/7. Never stop. Charles writes, Nate, Nate want to play hide and go get it. Yeah. Yes. Hide and go get it. We can play that. Things a little different when you become a grown man. A little different. I'll say it again before we get too started, though. I want to remind you because, for me, the easiest thing in the world is to work with brands that I actually rock with or have used before, right? And since I've actually gone to an Ohio Kings game, I can tell you with 100% confidence that we had a good time. We felt safe. We had a good time, and it was fun. And so the Ohio Kings are coming back this Saturday. And I want to put this in front of you. You might forget, but I'll be back later in the show and throughout the week to remind you that you've got this opportunity. Okay. And I might even have some free tickets for you as well. And we'll take care of it here on the show. Because I want you to go check it out. Because the more people to go check it out, if you like it, you'll tell more people about it, right? If you like it. And this is people who like basketball. You know what I'm saying? If you're not into basketball, I get it. That maybe not for you, but if you're into basketball as a form of entertainment, some fun, you want to support your local team. This is locally owned. This is locally Black owned. I think there's a difference between being locally black owned and it's black owned, but you ain't from Cincinnati. You know what I'm saying? This is locally black owned. To me, that makes a big difference. And the first game is going to be this Saturday, December the 4th at 6 p.m. Tickets are $10. That's the general admission. Now, if you're going to step things up, big baller, you stepping things up to that VIP level, you know what I'm saying? I love VIP now. Ooh, I get extra. I'm taking it. $20 get you courtside VIP. Now you're courtside, but you also includes free concessions. You ain't got to take care of no concessions. They got you. It's all covered in the price of the VIP courtside experience. Now, kids under 12, they get in free when accompanied by an adult. So you got some young kids, like my kid's 6. He in free, y'all. He's in free. So this is most definitely about the family, right? Very cost effective. Check it out. You can purchase tickets at ohio-kings.ticketbud.com. Go to their website as well, Ohio Kings, and check them out. Free haircuts for the kids. So let me wait. So under 12, you get in free, and you're getting a free haircut. You winning. You're winning. You're winning. That's one less haircut you got to pay for. That's one less 30 minutes that mom or dad has to take care of. They got you over the Ohio Kings. Check them out. Did I mention that they are locally black owned? I think I did. Now, this is COVID. COVID protocols. Masks are required. And I don't think that's a big deal. We all used to mask at this point. Like I said, we're going to be wearing masks for the rest of our days. This is my mask right here. I rock this everywhere I go. You say that? It reads vaccinated. Is that obnoxious? It must be obnoxious. Sorry about that. It must be obnoxious because when I'm out sometimes, people kind of look at me. And I'm like, why are they looking at me? I'm just a black man. Oh, it's the mask. You know, nowadays, this is a political statement. That's a damn shame. That's a political statement. That's a political statement. Just to say you vaccinated, because we politicize everything in America. That's what we do best. We politicize everything. But let me get to the cover story here. 3 things that I've learned about young Dolph since his death. 3 things that I've learned about young Dolph since his death. Anybody hip to young Dolph? I am hip to young Dolph. I like young Dolph. I didn't know Ish. I'll be honest with you. Everybody look at me like, they used to look at me like I was a hip hop dude, and I guess I was on some levels. But let me tell you this. I'm from the hip hop generation, but I love millennials. I love new artists. I hear people from my generation saying dumb ish all the time, like music ain't the same no more. Nothing's the same anymore. The earth isn't the same. Water isn't the same. Ice is not the same. And I don't want my music to be the same. I love all these new artists, man. I love it. I love it. You got the best of both worlds. Like, you know, if you want to get into what they call old school music, you can get into old school. You can go you can go prior to 80s and get to the music. You can go to the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and now where we are now. I love all of it. I wasn't really hip to Young Dolph. I fully admit it. Does that mean you going to revoke my black card? Or you going to have to come take it from my dead cold hands? I ain't giving it up. I'm not giving it up. You're going to have to fight me for it. Simple as that. But 3 things I learned. 1, dope artist. I like the brother. You know, some people might say that's that street music, but I like all the music. I like all of it. You know what I'm saying? Dope artist. I've seen at least about 7, 8 of his interviews now. I mean, posthumously, just checking out some of the interviews that he's done with some of the biggest people on the internet and YouTube. Seemed like the brother had his head on straight. Seemed like a very mature brother that had his head on straight. That's what he seemed like. I like the dude, quite honestly. He seemed like the kind of brother I could hang with. He just seemed like he had his head on straight. You know, I said it already, but when he was talking about what his motivation was, I kept hearing about family. He really wasn't caught up with these women out here because women are plentiful. He wasn't caught up with trying to stunt in as much as, you know, well, let me take that back. When you're an artist of that caliber on that level, they always stunting and showing off this and showing. It's a part of the game, right? I get that, but it just seemed like the brother had his head on straight. Anybody hip to Young Dolph? I like a lot of his joints. I like a lot of his songs, a lot of his music. I like. He got a couple things he did with Lil Baby. I like a lot of stuff. I wasn't really even hip to this little beef or feud that he had with Yo Gotti for a little while. I like Yo Gotti too. I've never been to Memphis, but apparently Memphis is like Haterville. They got a lot of issues down there. Brothers hating on brothers, sisters hating on sisters. You got a lot of dope hip hop artists that came out of Memphis. I mean, most notably probably be 3 6 Mafia and others, but it's a lot of dope cats that came out of Memphis. I really wasn't even hip to it until I started digging deep into it over the weekend, with this whole Young Dolph thing. But like I said, I don't know what I was expecting, but as I was watching more of his different interviews, he's got interviews with the Breakfast Club. He's got interviews with Vlad. He's got interviews with Hot 97. He's got interviews with all these different cats. That's what I was doing over the weekend. I'm just sitting back watching interviews. And the more I watched the interviews, I was like, yo, I like this dude. I like this dude, man. Seems like a man's man. I like a man's man. That's got his head on straight. You know what I'm saying? Younger dude, younger than me, but he seemed to be in shining. I like to see people shine. I like that. In particular, I love to see my people shine. I love to see that. I don't have to know you. I don't have to get nothing out of it. It's just for you. That's real sad, man. I hope the police catch up with these individuals that committed this crime. We still don't know what it was all about. And I won't even speculate. I think it's disrespectful. I did read that there was a comedian down in Memphis, Tennessee that was like cracking some jokes about young Dolph. His first name is Adolph. I don't know if it's Adolph or Adolph Robert Thornton Jr., named after his father. He released his debut studio album, King of Memphis, which peaked at number 49 on the Billboard 200 chart back in 2016. And some of y'all probably remember him. He was with on that track called Cut It. Remember that? You got to cut it. He's on there. No, I like it. I like his syntax. I like this rap style, man. It was very, very sad. I hate to see a brother get cut down his prime like that. He was talking about retiring, and I know he started the Paper Route Empire, right? PRE, Paper Route Empire. That was his whole brand and his movement that he was starting. I love to see it, man. It's encouraging. I love to see it. I like the dude, man. Dope artist. And what the hell is going on with Memphis, man? Brothers hating brothers. That white supremacy got us so messed up that they ain't got to do nothing. All I got to do is sit back and watch us just hate on each other and kill one another and plot on one another. I'm all the way up here in Cincinnati, but I'm telling you the same. It's that same mentality pervades. You know what I'm saying? That crab in a barrel mentality. I don't know. Now, as I understand it, young Dolph was not robbed. It was a straight up like hit. They didn't rob him from what I understand. If I'm wrong about that, then you can always call in and set me straight at 513-873-7134. Please set me straight because I don't want to give out. I'm always open to be corrected by my people, put it that way. I'm always open to be corrected by my folks. If I'm wrong about it, set me straight at. There's a number. But as I understand, he wasn't robbed. He was just shot, killed. And as I understand it, that wasn't the first time that somebody tried to get at him. That was not the first time. Very sad, though, man. Very, very sad situation. Before we go any deeper, man, I want to shout out all of my patrons who are rocking with me for another month. We picked up a couple of big patrons in the last month, and I definitely want to shout everybody out. Starting with, in no particular order, Rhonda, thank you so much for your support. I really support you. She's been rocking me for a minute. Frankie, thank you so much for your support. Tanika, thank you so much. Kush, I really appreciate you, bro. Charles, I appreciate you. Michelle, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. James, Monique, thank you so much. Bobby, Brandon, appreciate you. Gerald Lee, appreciate you. Gerald Kelly, appreciate you, Kelly. Brother Omar Flomani, Ayatollah Flomani in the house. I appreciate you. I got a little squad up there in New York, man. What y'all gonna do this year? Anything? Y'all ain't doing nothing. Valisa writes, or not Valisa, but Valisa is one of my patrons. I appreciate you so much. Mason, homie right there, appreciate your support. Jarrett, Team and I appreciate you so much. Marisha, appreciate you. Brian, appreciate you, Brian, as well. Sean, we still got to catch up, man. for sure. Ashley, thank you so much. Daryl, thank you so much, Daryl. K Works, Tracy, appreciate you. Cassandra, appreciate you as well. Bozilla, appreciate you. Patricia, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Lee, Cinnamon, appreciate you as well. Zola, Renee, and Ray, I appreciate you both. Dee Dee, appreciate you. Rachel, thank you so much. Brother Glenn, appreciate you as well. Jerome, Asia, I appreciate you very, very much. Thank you so much. James, I appreciate you. Christy, thank you so much. Gregory, appreciate you. The Minister of Information, Dominique, appreciate you as well. Gallon, appreciate you. Appreciate you. Jenny, thank you so much. Jane, Charlie Wimber, appreciate each and every one of you. Appreciate you so much. It means everything. So, what are my plans for 2022? More. Just more, and then you know, I've zeroed in on a space that will be the hub for all of my creative projects, and I'm still going through that process, right now, without saying too much about it. But I have zeroed in on the space. Before I had zeroed in on two spaces. I've whittled it down to one space at this point, and I'm still working through the process. So hopefully I'll have some good news for you by the end of the week or next week and can give you a timeline and things like that. But as of right now, that's what I'm working on. So, I just want you to know that each and every dollar goes straight back into it. At this point, it's a kind of venture that is still at the investment. We're still making investments into it. So I'll get in more detail behind the Patreon wall for my patrons exclusively. But I want to just say that in front of everybody publicly. I appreciate each and every one of you. Some of you folks been rocking me for years. It all helps because to do these kind of live streams and all the things we do, of course, it takes resources. And nobody builds anything by themselves. So I want to say humbly, thank you so much. It means everything. It means everything. More than you know. More than you know. Good morning to you. How was your weekend? How was your Thanksgiving? I want to hear anything funny happened. Anything interesting happened? I know it's been a minute. Anybody catch up on any Netflix shows? Because sometimes you get a holiday and you go straight into the weekend, you get a chance to binge watch some shows and catch up a little bit. You've been catching up. I saw that Kevin Hart joint. Kevin Hart, I had to watch that. I like me some Kevin Hart, man. I do. I like Kevin Hart because Kevin Hart, he teamed up with Wesley Snipes in a series called True Story. How many people got a chance to watch that? I'm going to give you a review, a non-spoiler review. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's almost as if at the beginning of it. So in the movie, Kevin Hart basically is Kevin Hart. In True Story, Kevin Hart basically is playing Kevin Hart in the sense that he's a big time comic actor, entertainer, and he's made it. He's from Philly, which is where I believe Kevin Hart is from. And he's on a tour, and his tour stops in his hometown of Philly, right? He's traveling the country and if not the world. And you get a little peek into what it's like in the first episode, really in the intro of it, as to what it's like to be in Kevin Hart's world, going from the hotel to the press to the hotel and all this kind of stuff, right? All the stuff it means to be a big time entertainer like Kevin Hart is. And the only, if you want to call it an issue, I won't even call it that, but Wesley Snipes portrays Kevin Hart's older brother. And he's the older brother that, has a lot of problems, we'll put it that way, right? So it's kind of like you got the younger brother that surpasses the older brother in success. And so the younger brother has to look after the older brother, that kind of thing. Which, if you the older sibling, you want to be the man. You want to be the man. You know what I'm saying? You like, wait a minute, that's my little brother. But what do you do when your little brother surpasses you in success? That's a scene right there. I can't remember what episode it is. It's only about 7 episodes. And so, Kevin Hart is he's got this big movie out in the movie theaters called Antiverse, where he's like teamed up with Chris Hemsworth, who is the actor who portrays Thor. You know what I'm talking about? Ladies love Chris Hemsworth. Even black women love Chris Hemsworth, I think. I don't know. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Don't get me talking for you. And so everything is going right with you know with Kevin Hart's world. Everything is going right. He's making big moves. And so it's really interesting. So that's really the heart of it, like pun not intended. The heart of the series is the relationship between Kevin Hart and Wesley Snipes. Now, in terms of acting, who put their foot in it? I'll be honest with you. I thought that Wesley Snipes did a good job. I thought that Wesley Snipes did a good job. I did. I thought that Wesley acted in this movie. Kevin I would never say anything negative about Kevin Hart because nobody wants to hear that shit, and he's way too, oh, Lord forgive me for my brash delivery, and he's way too successful for anybody to critique his abilities, because obviously he's doing well. In terms of acting, I would say that Kevin Hart still has a ways to go. He can get there, but he's got a ways to go to get into his acting bag. And this was just me. Maybe I have to watch it for a second time, but with my first viewing of it, especially early on, and again, maybe it was supposed to be that way, but I could still see Kevin. I could still see Kevin Hart. You know what I'm talking about? That make any sense? Not hating. I'm not saying he was bad in it, but at least earlier, the first couple of episodes, family, I could still see Kevin Hart. I will say this is that Netflix series, like the people that produce and create for Netflix, they have become masters of the cliffhangers. They are masters at the cliffhangers. Like how to end an episode and then how to open an episode. I just finished Narcos Mexico, worth your time, by the way. The Narcos series, there's 2 of them. It's Narcos and Narcos Mexico. Watch Narcos first, because that's really when you should start with, and then watch Narcos Mexico. Good. If you like that kind of stuff, see, I like adult stuff. I like the cursing. I like the raunchiness. I like the gunplay, if it makes sense. It's not gratuitous. I like the adult themes. I like adult things. You know what I'm saying? But back to this true story. Is it worth your time? I would say, how do I preface this? I would say, yes, it is worth your time definitively. I'll say that across the board. But let me add a couple of caveats, like if you like these kind of movies. I don't think that you have to be a Kevin Hart fan to enjoy this series. In fact, I wonder, as I was watching it, I wonder if I didn't even know who Kevin Hart was, would I have liked it even more? And if I didn't even know who Kevin Hart was, would I grade his acting even better? Like, we've seen so much of Kevin Hart that it's hard not to remember some of his other roles. But these ain't like his other roles. Like, I can see Kevin Hart is a very smart man. He is so smart. He's a very smart, intelligent man. Very smart. Like, every move he makes, you could tell is immaculately planned. Every move he makes. If you go to Kevin Hart's Instagram, which I have done, he's got like 112 million followers. You could tell he's a very smart man. Very, very. So props to Kevin Hart, man. People should watch what he's doing and then recreate it if you're in that lane, if you get a chance to do that, because he's a very smart guy. And I wonder how I would look and judge this series, True Story, if I didn't know who Kevin Hart was. I think that I might grade his acting even higher, but he's just so oversaturated in my world, in my experience. It's hard for me to forget those other roles. but it is what it is. Now Wesley is, is a dope ass actor. Everybody, no time is hand. Lord forgive me for my brash delivery. Wesley is a dope actor. We all know that. We all know that. And he shows up. He shows up in this like everything in every single way. But what happens? It is not a non-spoiler. Within the first episode, let's just say that Kevin Hart, he's this entertainer. His brother is there. He's been bailing his brother out financially through through for years. He's been giving his brother money and taking care of his brother. His brother's been screwing up. His brother's been would make promises, and then when Kevin comes through with the cash, his brother doesn't come through. His brother is kind of mixed up with some street dudes, to put it that way, right? And his brother is wants to open a restaurant or has a restaurant open, but he still needs some more cash, I guess, to pay the bills or keep it afloat or whatever. And the character portrayed by Kevin Hart gets caught up into it. He gets sucked into that matrix. And what happens after that is interesting. It's very interesting. Is it believable? I don't know. I want to know if you've seen it or not. I don't want to spoil it for the folks that got a chance because it just came out last week. I think it came out on what, Wednesday? It came out on Tuesday or Wednesday. I watched it all in like a 24-hour standpoint. Like I said, I mean, I was at my in-laws' house, and other than talking with them, what are we gonna do, right? So I'm watching stuff on my phone. So I got a chance to catch up. But I want to know what you think. 513-873-7134. Jerica's in the house. Hey, good to see you, Jerica. She writes, yep, Kevin in serious roles don't work for me. The big critique on Kevin Hart is that in every role he plays the same person. And I saw him on the Breakfast Club a few years back talking about that. And what he said was, yep, you're right about that. Why wouldn't I? I'm not that actor yet. So yeah, I'm playing the roles that I think that I can actually deliver on. Made sense. This is something different. This is a different look for Kevin Hart. This is a much different look. This series is a thriller. This is a thriller. A little bit of action, but it's more like the scenario and the context is what really, really gets you. And it's really about that brotherly love and what people will do and things like that. So you got to check it out. Jenny writes, Kevin Hart was really good in the Netflix movie Fatherhood. I haven't seen it yet. Janice writes, I feel the same way about Halle Berry. I can always see her in her acting, right? Dale writes, when he choked out that Russian, it was hilarious. I chuckled too. I was like, you can't get this little motherfucker off you? You can't get this little bitty dude off of you, man? Get it. Come on now. All you got to do is say, look, get off of me. Just pick him up. You'd be like, just pick Kevin up just like this. You'd be like, oh, man. Is it worth your time, family? If you saw it, you tell me. Vicky writes, Wesley was so dirty, it was worth my time. That's our stand here. Is it worth your time? Because time is the most precious commodity that we have. You'll be reminded that if you have a near-death experience, you land in a hospital bed, it's all about time. Nothing more valuable than that. Jada writes, how about Halle Berry's debut, Bruised? I haven't watched it, Jada. Can I be honest about Halle Berry? I really wasn't that turned on. And I ain't trying to hate on that sister because she's very talented, but somebody said it earlier, like, every time I see her, I just see Halle. And so when I saw the trailer, I saw Halle with a hoodie on. It was Halle with a hoodie on. And then they put some bruised makeup on her. And I'm like, what, she play an MMA fighter? And then she gets down on her luck. She loses in humiliating fashion, and then she's down on her luck and she has to rise back up. I like the premise, but I just couldn't press the button, Jada. I couldn't. I must be honest with you. I couldn't press the button and check out Bruised. Good morning to you. Come on in. If you're just tapping into the show, talking about numerous things. I shared with you 3 things that I learned about young Dolph since his death, his untimely death. One of those things is dude was dope. Dolph was dope. He got some really nice tracks, man. I've been listening to Young Dolph all weekend and watching the videos. I like him. The other thing is that dude appeared to have his head on straight. He seemed to be like very mature in terms and very pragmatic and realistic about, what he was trying to do with his life and what was important to him. And number three, Memphis got a lot of problems, man. I was watching all these videos, man. Like Vlad TV, he's got some videos, some interviews he did with Project Pack right now. And I thought those are very interesting. Yeah, all these videos about people talking about what's happening down in Memphis and the culture and things like that, and people hating on people inside of Memphis and rappers from Memphis not really rocking with rappers from Memphis. And I don't get it. I just don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you good at what you do, it's always enough to go around. Now, if you subpar, no. But if you good at what you do, it's always enough to go around. In any industry, if you good at what you do, I don't care how many people is in that industry. If you are good at what you do and you're creating high quality, whatever it might be, it's always a place for you. Now, if you're not, then it's not. But I like me some Young Dolph, man. Rest in power, Young King. You know what I'm saying? That's a damn sad situation right there, man. Like I said, man, that white supremacy thing got us killing each other over a little bit of nothing. That insecurity, that ego. I don't know what it was. He wasn't robbed. So was it around? Could have been around a woman. Because, I mean, a woman can get you killed now. A woman can make a man go there. I don't think it's the right thing to do, but how you going to get mad because a woman decided to do what she want to do with her body? I don't get it, but I get it. I don't get it, but I do get it on some levels. So, no, I haven't seen that, Jada. I ain't going to lie to you. I don't know if I'm ever going to watch it. I'm not going to rule it out, Jada, but if it's just me naturally just clicking on stuff I want to watch on Netflix, I don't know if I'm ever going to click on that. I'll just be straight with you. And no sense in lying. Darlene writes, I hear you about Kevin and his acting, but he has to get some more experience, but overall he did well. In True Story, yeah, overall he did well. And he did well. But you can see, like, for people that can see these kind of things, you can see that, like, let's say Kevin's acting potentials here, he's about right here right now. Like, there's still some room for him to grow. He ain't no Sam Jackson. But he did his job. Like, he kept that series going. I watched all of it because the cliffhangers are everything. They just so damn, they experts with the cliffhangers, man. They know how to end a Netflix episode, don't they? Across the board. I ain't just talking about True Story, but all these Netflix series, man, they be catching you with them cliffhangers. Like right before that episode end, bang, they hit you with a bang. And then right when it's starting, they hit you with a bang. And it's like, I was going to cook dinner, but now I got to watch another episode, right? They get you like that. Smart people. A lot of fun, too. What is this? Okay, I like that. Okay, Restream. Vicky writes, the end of the show was so shocking. It was. But you know what? I kept asking myself, Vicky, she's talking about True Story. I kept asking myself, how are they going to end this? I kept asking myself, how are they going to end this? Like, and I'm thinking to myself, how does this end? And there is a shocking ending. It is very shocking. It's shocking, and on some levels, I thought it was very real. I thought it was very real because, as I've been saying before, we are living in a post-Oprahfication type of world. Among other things, Oprah taught primarily women, right? Because she had a primarily female audience, but really anybody that watched their show, that whatever you feel, you deserve. That's what Oprah taught people. That's what Oprah taught women. Whatever you feel, whatever you desire, you're supposed to have it. If it wrecks your marriage, so what? You can be happier. You might be happy now, but you can be happier, right? We are all God's little selfish creatures, only caught up with ourselves. Only care about what we want. Don't really give a damn about other folks unless it makes us feel good because we giving, right? We ain't never been more full of ourselves as human beings as we are right now. Everybody's a superstar. Everybody's got a platform for the world on Instagram, on Facebook stories, right? We ain't never been as full of ourselves and caught up with ourselves and captivated with ourselves as human beings as we are right now. Everybody's a post away from going viral. You know what I'm saying? We ain't never been more caught up with ourselves than we are right now. Like I said, it used to be the divorce rate is going to get worse because it used to be that people used to get divorced because they were unhappy. Now people are getting divorced because they think they can be happier. I want more. I want more. Yeah, I'm happy, but I can be happier. Right? That's just the way the world is these days. You know, that's just the way the world is. And so the end of that series was just kind of so fitting, man. It kind of was on some levels. Good morning to you. Anthony's in the house. Hey, good morning to you, Anthony. Thanks for all those posts, man, the friends page, man. I keep keeping us informed. Great stuff in there. That's the friends who like the Nathan Ivey Show. It's a closed Facebook group on Facebook. If you'd like to enter, just knock on the door. We'll let you in. Sorry about that. Darlene writes, Nathan, go ahead and tell the whole movie. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Maybe later in the week I will. I'll give you some time. I want people to watch it for themselves naturally without spoiling it for you because you can't spoil it. That's the kind of series that you don't want to talk about at all. Just let people watch it, and then they can come back and share their thoughts about it. So, I mean, I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm not going to do that. Gladys writes, she was on fire with her stunts. Was she? Okay. Daryl writes, yeah, right. I was thinking the same thing, Nate, when he was choking dude out. Yeah, I'm like, just pick him up and be like, stop it. Put him on the couch, right? Kevin, he wasn't playing. Well, he doesn't play Kevin Hart. He plays the kid. That's the character name, Kid, the kid. Everybody refers to him as the kid. I didn't think it was the best name choice, but okay, I went with it. I didn't really like the fact that he was only named the kid, but it is what it is. Charles writes, the Bengals thrashed the Steelers. Yeah, they did. Caution, Bengal fan. Don't get caught up with your ego now. The Bengals are 7-4, and I believe they're in the 6th or 7th spot in terms of the AFC playoff picture. So they keep on winning, they'll be in the playoffs, and they will take it from there. And anything can happen once you get to the playoffs. Any team can win. We'll see what happens. I say enjoy the games. The Steelers are not that good. But I don't want to hear any Bengal fans talking about the Steelers head coach. We ain't going to go that far now. We ain't going to go that far because they got a black head coach, and we like black head coaches. So, yeah, you can criticize the Steelers, but don't talk about Mike Tomlin. Plus, ladies like Mike Tomlin. The ladies like Mike Tomlin. I got a picture of their coach right here. Hold on right now. Let me get this for you. Yeah, I mean, I seen some people online talking about, yeah, the coach got to go. I'm like, hold on, dude. We ain't doing all that now. We ain't doing that. We are not doing that. We ain't going to talk about the black head coaches. We like black head coaches. Even with a rival team. So talk about the team. But here's Mike Tomlin right here. That's Mike Tomlin. That's Mike Tomlin. Ladies love Mike Tomlin. My wife would be like, yeah, I like the coach of the Steelers. I'm like, if you don't. Right? Black man got a job. He's like he in control of something. Women go crazy. Let's sit your ass down. I want to hear all that. I'm trying to watch football. Care about what you like. The ladies like Mike Tomlin. That's him right there. Oh, you didn't know he that? Yeah, that's him. That's not really him. Well, that's him, but somebody did something to his face. That's not really him. He looks a little different in real life. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me, Nate. I can hear ladies right now. Put up a real picture of Mike Tomlin when he looks sexy in his glasses. I got you. Here you go. There he is. Yeah. Turn off the lights and light a candle. There it is. That's the money shot for you ladies. There it is. Talk about the Steelers, but don't talk about the head coach. We like black head coaches, Cincinnati Bengal fan. Get out your damn arrogance. Y'all need a new coach. Beep, beep, pump the brakes. Stop all that. Stop all that. We like black head coaches. That's enough of you. That's enough. I ain't giving you no more. Some of y'all go to work all day. You got to. I was going to say something very inappropriate, but I'm not going to do it. Dale writes, my Wolverines beat up on them suck eyes, made my 4-day weekend. Yeah, I saw that. We were actually bowling, and the game was on. He had a nice little bowling alley up there in Cleveland, and the game was on. I didn't go to Ohio State, but I always rep for the Ohio team. So if it's Ohio State versus Michigan, sorry, Daryl, I'm going. What you mean, my Wolverines? You live in Ohio, B? You damn traitor, you? My Wolverines. Wait a minute. You live in Ohio. How you gonna go against Ohio State, you damn traitor? Hate these damn traitors. Anyway, so we was bowling, which is not my thing, but I just look at it as exercise. I had some fun with it. And yeah, they did lose. I was happy because that helps UC number 4 or 3 in the country, something like that. Yay, go Bearcats. So keep losing. Go Bearcats. I don't think the Bearcats will be in the national championship game, but go Bearcats. That's right. My Wolverines. You damn traitor, you. You're a traitor. Regina writes to myself, my Wolverines. What's wrong with you, man? Now, are you from Michigan, Daryl? If you're from Michigan, I'll give you a pass. I'll give you a pass. Janice writes, Ricky Smiley said he will never go back to the hood. And he recommends that to others who have made it big because people are jealous. He'll send whatever he needs to. But you know what? That's one thing I liked about young Dolph, man. I hear what Ricky Smiley is saying. He sounds like a scared-ass Negro. I get what he's saying, but I respect that about young Dolph. I respect that he was giving away turkeys in his neighborhood and he was actually standing there. I respect that about him. I respect that he was still going to like black-owned, what was he, at a bakery shop or something like that, and he got shot. I respect that. I seen some videos. He was like, yeah, I'm in the same place. Everybody got a different mentality, and not everybody's afraid. Not every man is afraid that he going to be confronted or something going to start. Not every man live like that. I hear what Ricky Smiley is saying. And I can't say that, obviously, he doesn't have a point. But that's one of the things that posthumously, meaning after his death, that I have grown to respect about young Dolph. Is that he was still doing stuff where he came from in his same hood, if you want to put it that way. I don't know exactly where he grew up in Memphis, so I really can't speak on it intelligently. But I respect that. I respect that he didn't lose himself and lose touch with his origins and his upbringing, because you can get murked anywhere. You know, you can live in a gated community and get murked. You know, things happen. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that can happen anywhere. And I'm very curious as to hear what the motivation is behind his death when they find these individuals. They probably will find them eventually because young Dolph is just too big of a star. I didn't really know how big of a star he was. I had no idea. The rap game is so different now. And so consumption of it is different. Used to be, you had to be on a major. Now you don't need to do that. You can go straight on, man. Some of the biggest names have been found on damn SoundCloud. Just posting stuff on SoundCloud and sending it out. You end up being a big time pop star or musical entertainer or whatever. So young Dolph was doing his own thing. He had the Paper Route Empire, PRE. You may have seen him with a lot of chains with PRE. That's what it stands for. I think that was his label and his movement or whatever you want to call it. I respect it. I respect it. Dale writes, cool. The plan is coming together. Regina writes, it's pretty good. True story. You thought it was pretty good? I told the wife you got to watch it because it's a different Kevin Hart. It ain't the same old Kevin Hart. It might seem like it, like, oh, the kid is Kevin Hart, but it ain't exactly the same. You're going to get something different. And so it's making Kevin Hart as a creative give something different. So I'm just curious as to what you think about it. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning, Guy. How are things?
I'm doing well. Doing well. Brother Fame, welcome.
Yes, and it is a pleasure to be here. However, I'm getting a little disgusted listening to you romanticize this guy, young Dolph's death. Like he was something to marvel at. You know, he's riding around Memphis in a bulletproof car. That tells you he doesn't piss some people off. He knows he's an asshole, and he's got it coming. Oh, that's right. He's been blown up 1 or 2 times before and just happened to survive. He was on borrowed time. Okay, let's not conveniently overlook the fact that he was blown up twice before. You know, there's nothing special or nothing savory about this guy. He didn't mature. That's why he's riding around in a bulletproof car. Made some good coin. Turned down a $22 million deal while you're talking about Vlad. I saw that on Vlad too. He turned down a $22 million deal for something. You know, even Boosie's like, what's wrong with Dolph? Why he's doing that? You know, turning down that kind of money. The guy didn't mature. And eventually caught up with him. That's all.
Well, can I ask you a quick question,
You're making
brother?
it seem like, please.
If somebody offered you a $22 million deal, but you thought you could make $32 million doing your own thing, what would you do?
I would take better inventory on myself and my capabilities.
Mm-hmm. So you would turn down a $22 million deal for a $32 million deal any day, wouldn't you?
I would take better inventory of myself and my future earnings and capabilities.
Yes, you would. That's what the answer
I don't
is.
know why he thought he had that kind of cash coming to him from an independent route. Didn't happen.
I don't. How do you know what happened or not? I don't know.
It didn't happen. It didn't happen. He didn't amass $22 million. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been a subject on the Vlad TV interview.
We don't know that. I saw those interviews.
Yes,
we don't know how much.
We know it didn't happen. If Vlad wouldn't have done it, it wouldn't have been a question to another rapper on Vlad if it happened, because he would have been.
I won't put that.
Vlad does a lot of Vlad's interviews are all about backseat driving.
Right. And so how you gonna backseat drive another man's deal? That's why I don't understand. Like if he decided to turn down $22 million, if he was offered $22 million,
he overestimated himself, Nathan.
No.
That's all.
I don't know if that's true or not, brother. That's all I'm trying to say.
Please stop with the romanticism.
I'm not romanticizing it. I'm just trying to be objective. If somebody comes to you and offers you a deal worth $22 million, that means that you must have some significant earning potential, period. Period.
Yes, you must have some significant earning potential, but don't overestimate it.
For far too long, we've been underestimating ourselves.
No, we have not.
Yes, we have.
No, we have not.
Yes, we have.
You know,
a lot of people sell themselves short.
I don't know. Everybody I know thinks they're the greatest, the greatest N-word alive, including yourself.
Well, I am the most superlative Virgo alive. I don't know if that equates to the greatest Negro alive, but I get your point. All I'm saying, if the brother was offered a $22 million deal, I saw a couple of interviews. He said, look, they offered me $22 million, but I feel like I can make more over the life of the deal. So why would I take that when I think I can make more? That makes perfect sense. I feel
like, and I'm going to, and I did are 3 different things.
But how are you going to count another man's money?
The latter, because he's on TV flossing it.
Nah, he wasn't.
So he wants me to count it with him.
How are you going to tell another man what he should do with his deal?
That's why he's driving around a bulletproof car. He wants us to count his money with him.
No, he was driving in a bulletproof car because, as you said earlier, people took shots at him. So he's trying to protect himself.
Right. Flossing too damn much. Sit down somewhere. Jay-Z's a billionaire. We've seen him in the same outfit for the past 3 years.
You talking about that Tom
Black
Ford,
suit, white dress shirt, no tie.
that Tom Ford white dress shirt, probably worth $1,000.
Yeah, British, little Britishy hookup little thing he's wearing. He's wore the same outfit publicly for 3 years.
Why are you
No
itching on this
jewels.
black man?
No jewels. Although his first 10 albums, all he talked about was how nice his watches were.
Right. Right.
No, I'm not dissing on old black man. I just thought you've been, see, that's what I'm saying. I haven't been able to call in quite some time, because of the holidays, and you had a bunch of long-winded, arrogant folks on here, and then you had that, whatever that thing was with the school district. I don't know what the F that was about. I think you owe them people an apology. That seemed to be a personal attack, but I digress.
Say what now?
That seemed to be something that seemed to be such a random topic. It seemed personal.
What was random?
Are the schools taking too many tests? Like when was that in the news? I don't remember hearing that even in the news.
See, that's what you got to. I don't follow the news, man.
I know you. I knew you were gonna go there with that bullshit.
I don't follow the news.
I knew that was gonna be your reply.
Oh, you got to unplug from that matrix, brother. I don't follow the news.
I'm a cutting-edge newsmaker.
And that's why I'm here, because I know you don't know.
Nathan Ivey.
That's why I'm here, brother, because I know that you don't know necessarily everything that's relevant in a community. But I'm kind of plugged in, and that was a very relevant conversation to people.
It sounded to me like teachers are being told to get your ass to work. That's all. That's all I heard. Get your ass to work, teachers. And make these kids understand and respect the process. That's all.
Yeah, you missed it. You're right. It was
maybe I missed
it
because it wasn't delivered properly.
Oh, it was delivered.
It was delivered through anger.
You just don't have.
It was delivered through a lens of anger.
No, who was angry?
You. Nothing they said made sense to you. Every answer they gave was not good enough. No, I'm thinking that assessment and test and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, God damn, Nathan.
You wild, man. Go ahead and finish your call, man.
I'm just telling you what I'm just telling you what I, the listener and viewer, heard.
Oh, yeah. Well,
whether that was it's intent versus impact.
Oh boy, look at you coming up with all the phrases.
Speaking of intent versus impact, I've been telling you for 3 years. That the biggest monkey of them all, aka Brian Taylor, was going to get somebody killed with his rhetoric. And what did his rhetoric do? Got somebody killed. That's all that Kyle Rittenhouse trial was about. Them professional protesters being too damn aggressive.
What are you talking about?
And when he called in after the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict, he was angry and mad because it put a light on him. His professional protesting has come under scrutiny because it got somebody killed. And that's what I've been telling y'all for 3 years, that his rhetoric was dangerous and was going to get somebody killed. And lo and behold, a bunch of white people are dead behind it. But I said it would get somebody killed.
You sound ridiculous.
And that's why his call... if you listen to the words of his call, he's talking about fighting and bloodshed and all this stuff, all this monkey ass shit that he ain't gonna do. And that's all the more reason why you need to ban him, because he's gonna get somebody killed, and he compares black people to pit bulls. He's never apologized for that bullshit. He's never apologized for it.
I could tell you to take your medicine, but go ahead, brother. You sound absolutely ridiculous. But okay.
If I sound ridiculous, you should replay that interview with the school district last week. You owe them 3 people an apology. You ambushed.
So actually, they owe me an apology. But you know what? I'm going to do just that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just that interview and put it out there so people don't have to search for it. They can find it, because that was a very revealing conversation. I'm glad you reminded me about that. And the more you talk about, the more I get ticked off, actually all over again, because some of those answers were subpar. We deserve better. And more qualified.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. The interview was angry and biased.
It was
and an attack.
unapologetically,
It
you
was a
can't just say
napalm.
anything you
It
want to
was
say
an
to me.
attempt at napalm.
And I know that
Nathan?
in Cincinnati, you're not used to that because most of these talk show hosts don't have the stones to do those kind of things, but I'm not them. Over here is something different. So it's a little different road over here. You just can't call in here and say anything, and I'm just going to just sit back and take it. It's just not going to happen. And it don't matter
Brian
who it
Taylor
is.
did it. Brian Taylor did it when he compared black people to pit bulls.
That's just the way
shit.
you look at it. That never happened. Stop making stuff up.
Oh, that never happened. He never said that.
No, he didn't. I've been telling you for years.
Oh, he never compared.
No,
he never
didn't.
called black.
That's
people
just
pit
what you
bulls.
heard.
Oh, okay.
That's just what you heard. No, he didn't.
I think this is where the call ends because now you're lying, and
now
it's been real. But I did have fun, and it's always a pleasure. We'll talk again soon, D.
Appreciate the call, man. We'll go ahead and wrap him. What is he talking about? What about Brian? What the hell? How is Brian Taylor responsible for Kyle Rittenhouse taking a weapon to a protest? And then the other thing I would say is, like, unless you're ready to hit the streets in support for the causes that really matter, then you shouldn't criticize the people that's willing to do that. That's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you say what you want about Brian. I've seen him with my own eyes. I've seen the brother in action. He means exactly what he's saying. Does that mean that I have to agree with everything he says? No. He don't agree with everything I said, I'm sure, but you can't say that water's not wet. You can't take what people have actually done away from them. But I appreciate the call, man. It's been a minute, man. Been a minute. I ain't heard your voice in a minute. Yo, he is wacky. He is wacky. Talking about I owed him an apology. You just kind of ticked me off. Talking about some testing and assessment. I'm like, huh? In this context, it's the same. Ain't no damn different. I don't care what them folks say. I don't care how many degrees you have and where you've been working. In the context in which we were talking, an assessment and a test, in the context in which we're talking about CPS, is the same damn thing. Answer these questions. You got a set amount of time to do it. What does that sound like? It sounds like a damn test, period. What you do with it is the difference. Now, that's what the difference is. But in all practical applications, in terms of what it means for the students and their time and the time for the classroom, it's all the same. You can wrap that up in equity and call it whatever. You can put some bacon on there, but it's going to be the same, period. I don't care what nobody say. I remain completely unconvinced. Completely unconvinced. And you know what? Dr. Brown said he wanted to meet for lunch. I'm down with that because I think that I take this very seriously when we talk about CPS. It's not a game for me. I take it very, very seriously. And so perhaps there's some more information that we can get and maybe I can learn some more, but it's not in a test. Let's change the narrative, he said. It's not a test, it's an assessment. Huh? What? Okay, kids, we're going to stop and you're going to answer these questions. That is a test. Now, what you do with it may just be an assessment. But in terms of the time that it's going to take in the classroom, it's another test. And I'll say it again. I have serious doubts. I said it to them, and since he brought it up, you didn't tick me off all over again with this shit. But what time is it? I'm cool. Kids should be at school right now. If they're not, they're on the wrong path anyway. They're smoking, they're drinking, they're having sex. So being late to school and hearing me on the radio is the least of their concerns. But anyway, we're going to have to circle back around, family. Again, after we had that conversation, you better believe I'm going to be looking at the test scores as we move forward because I want to see whether this is going to work. And with all these assessed and testments and all this other BS. But I don't think you can lock your way up to deal with the crime rate. Like some people think we just got to lock everybody up and give them mandatory minimums and truth in sentencing and lock people up for a long time. That'll decrease the crime rate. We tried that in the 90s, and what happened? Nothing. Father's not in the home, mother's not in the home, neighborhoods destroyed. That's all that happened. The crime rate didn't decrease not one bit. Not one bit. You got Joe Dieters talking all tough. He's law and order, and we're going to lock him up and throw away the key. We'll go for the death penalty. And guess what? People keep getting shot in Cincinnati because nobody care about what the prosecutor is talking about. Nobody cares about that. Nobody's worried about him. Hey, Drop, if you listen, man, I just put you on hold. I'm coming straight to you. I had a call before you. We got D Wizzle coming up next. D Wizzle, give me 1 second to get this point out. So I don't think that we can lock our way. We can't lock up enough people to decrease the crime rate. Some people think you can. I don't believe that one bit, because if it was possible, it would have already been done. The same way with the schools. I don't think that giving the kids a whole bunch of tests and assessments is what's going to lead to achievement. I don't believe that at all. Not one bit. Not tomorrow, not in 2 weeks. I don't believe it. I've never seen it. Show me the data. Send me the data where they do that at. I don't think that's what the elixir is. I don't believe that's what it is at all. I could be wrong, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it one bit. Show me that where that works. Rockdale, is that the school over in Evanston? What's the school in Evanston? Is it elementary school in Evanston that is getting all the high praise and the high marks? They didn't have all this, or did they? What did they do? Like if what's a part of their success story are these new tests and assessments, okay then. Now I'm listening. If that wasn't a part of it, and that's just some new stuff, and they were able to get to achievement without all of that, then what I would say is, let's go to that school building and ask that principal and ask those teachers and ask those parents and all that support staff, what are they doing? And just recreate it. What are they doing? Let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show. Hey, good morning.
Hey, is it me?
Yeah, D Wizzle, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, brother Nathan? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing well, man. Welcome to the
All
show.
right. Thank you. Hey, I just heard your phone call just now, and I heard the interview on rebroadcast regarding the Dr. Brown, I think, and the other two from the school board last week.
Yeah.
His name Dr. Brown?
Yeah, it was Dr. Brown
Okay.
and
Okay.
Emily, and there was a black female
Yeah.
doctor, somebody.
Right. Now, Nathan, you're a wise man, so I respect your flows and all. But I have to differ with that perspective, and I ask you to look at it a different way regarding the test. Now, this could be splitting hairs. Whether it's assessment test. That's kind of in the area that I don't really want to focus on. What I want to have you probably have a different look and angle at this whole idea. I don't know. I mean, I came up with CPS schools. I know kids who graduated, Nathan, who could not read. I go back to years ago, running back for the Bengals, James Brooks. Him and I became friends because we were at the same barber for years and years and years. And even when he got in child support trouble and got locked up in the JC, I went down to check on him, see if he needed anything. And, we had a sort of a communal, relationship. And, because, he was cool, super cool, down to earth. This guy would be in the barbershop, always with an Inquirer, his legs crossed, reading the paper. Comes out later on, just like I think Fantasia and everybody else, it was said that he couldn't read. I'm like, wait a minute, I seen this dude for years with a newspaper, in front of me, legs crossed, waiting on the chair. So with that said, and I don't know if you have known, but I've known folks who graduated from high school where the teachers pretty much gave up on just, look, let's just usher them on through. They ain't my problem to get them on out of here. They cannot read. They cannot perform. Now, where I differ, where this Dr. Brown and his staff was saying is they want to make sure everybody holds the same level of knowledge when they walk out this door and exit. I can't disagree with that. And and I've never been a great. I never felt good about taking tests. It's anxiety. Some people just like that. It takes me long or whatever. But maybe them taking them tests that frequently, assessments, whatever you want to call it, can help them get over that um, phase and help build confidence. Because I felt in school at times that, the teacher may have been moving super fast. Oh man, I didn't quite get that. I'm trying to take notes or whatever like that. And somebody else next to me got it, moved on, and I just go with the next lesson plan because I really didn't get what they were delivering at that particular point. I may have got it later or whatever like that, but I think it's very essential and important that each kid be assessed. And that's the most fair way that I think it could be done. Cincinnati has never had a precision focus like this before. I've never heard of it. And I've helped people get on, the school board and every other, political office over the last 20 something years. And I've never seen this. And I've showed up to Marison Academy at nights and I've spoke, and voiced my opinion. My kids were in CPS. They started there and they went to other private schools, but I can't disagree with that manner of which they're doing this, and it's an assessment. So I say hold their feet to the fire. Get them back. Look at that test again. But to get every kid on the same level, I think that's invaluable to make sure. And they said the tests or the assessments are not going to be held to their grade. Now, if they're saying that they're not going to be held to their grade, I can go with that because no one wants their kids to be, scoring bad, this, that, and the other. But this is just an opportunity for them to get the grade or the knowledge level to make sure every student has everything that they supposed to have, not the more advanced students, not the other ones, the mediocre, even at the lowest level, they want to get those guys up to par, up to level with the other kids. And I just say, please take a look at that angle of it because we all, if you go back, know kids who graduated CPS who cannot read and they have a diploma in their hand. And I think that's unfair to them. And that's my point.
All right, D Wizzle, thanks for the call, brother.
All right, appreciate it.
Yeah, be safe out there. That's D Wizzle checking in, leveling up. Appreciate it. We level up with each and every call, man. I appreciate the phone calls this morning. Wow. Okay, great. I thought it was a good interview. I thought it was a good conversation. And just the energy and the interest in talking about that conversation right now is telling me I'm gonna go back and do exactly what I thought. I'm just gonna make it its own podcast. I'm just gonna capture the video of the interview and put it out there and let people make their own decision. But let me say a couple things about what D Wizzle had to say. That's why I said before and again, I was super honest and transparent. That Dr. Brown was the right person to come and do the interview and be the public spokesman for it because he knows how to talk that talk. And they was definitely saying a lot of things. He definitely said a lot of things that people wanted to hear. He's talking about this is about equity, it's about this, it's about that. It makes sense. I love the loftier goals and what they're aspiring to do. I agree with it. That doesn't mean that I agree with what they're doing is going to lead to that, though. It's two different things. I agree with all those lofty goals, and we want to do this, and every kid should be graduating from CPS and then graduate from college. But that doesn't mean that this is going to help us get that way. I don't necessarily believe that. And I don't care about how things sound. I care about, does it make sense? When you start to really think about it and really break things down, does this really make sense? And a lot of it just didn't make sense to me. But as I said at the end of the interview, and I'll say it again, that hold on one second, I got a drop coming up on, and we'll bring other folks on. As I said, is a lot of people are looking for CPS to do something. They're looking for CPS to do something because a lot of people keep looking at these test scores and They look at these buildings like Walnut Hills or, this building or that building. They'll say, well, why is this school building higher performing than other school buildings? And people are tired of that. So people want to see PS do something. And I give them credit. They're doing something different. And I think that, and I'll say it again, as I said, I don't know any of those individuals. I don't know Dr. Brown or Emily or the sister. I can't remember. I can see her face. I can't remember her name. She was a doctor as well. But I would have to assume that these are all good people that want the best for our students. I can only assume that they believe that this is something that is going to have a positive impact. I said it during the interview. And that's my general disposition about the people that work at CPS in general. I ain't changing it. I ain't changing it. I feel the same way. If you're trying to call in, call me right back once we get drop off the line. I'll put you straight on because I can only have one person on at a time. And that's my general attitude about it. Like, number one, CPS parents in the larger community, we're tired of looking at these test scores and we're feeling as if it's not living up to what we wanted to do. We're tired of that. So now CPS is doing something. Let's wait and see if it works. I mean, that's all we can do at this point. Let's hope that it works and they get the desired outcomes. Okay. I even confess my ignorance on some levels. Like, hey, y'all the experts. This is what you do. I'm just a parent. However, as a parent and as an intelligent person, some of it just didn't jive. You're going to test your way to excellence. I've never seen that before, but I'm sure stranger things have happened. I guess it's possible. I'm still waiting for the details on that. I don't really believe it, but we'll wait and see. We shall wait and see. I hope the best. I hope that we get the desired outcomes that the district is looking for. That's all you can hope for, right? That's it. But let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Ivey. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well.
Well, thank you for having me and welcome back. Hope everybody had a healthy, safe, happy Thanksgiving. But Mr. Ivey, I got to give a shout out to Fane Rothstein, the host of the Betting Public Sports Show on YouTube. Mr. Ivey, that man is on the cutting edge of the Black culture in America. But Mr. Ivey, D Wizzle, shout out to him. That last call was on 100%. Now, Mr. Ivey, I think I just heard you say that a test is the same as an assessment. Did you say that?
Yeah, in the context in which we're talking about, yeah, it is.
Okay, yes. Okay, I just want to make sure because I saw most of that interview.
Yeah.
Shout out to the white lady who was scared to talk, but every now and then they let her in. But Mr. Ivey, a test, from what I understand, because I'm not college educated like you, a test is to get a score and to grade the results of the test. An assessment is to find out the progress of the student. Am I correct?
I don't know. Are you? I mean, it sounds like you're splitting hairs to me. It sounds like splitting hairs to me, but for all practical purposes, in terms of the time inside of a classroom, I don't think is any different whatsoever.
Yeah, but I listened. Remember, I listened to the interview, Mr. Ivey, and the man, the doctor, he spoke the most.
He did,
and what he was saying, which you were pushing back on him quite a bit, because I think you were saying that they both were the same thing, but they're not.
Well,
because
they are.
Testing in public schools, Mr. Ivey, it's done for funding. You need money from the federal government to do these tests because they take the data from the test to use it to create federal standards. We all know that.
State standards, yeah.
Because right. Somebody has to pay for the testing. But an assessment is different. That's not paid for by the federal or the state. So anyway, that's just what I got.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Let me say this again.
Yeah.
Because I think people are missing it. Okay. So let me say this again. in the context of what we're talking about, what they're doing with Cincinnati Public Schools, for all practical purposes, in terms of the time inside the classroom, it's all the same. What they do with
and
it
plus,
may be different, but the time that it's going to take inside the classroom, which was the crux of the issue for the teachers and also some parents, including myself, because as a parent, I'm like, damn, you taking instructional time to do yet another test/assessment. I'd rather you do more instructional time. So from that standpoint, whether they want to call it a test or call it an assessment or call it whatever, it's for all practical purposes the same.
Okay. Period. Now again, like you said, two things can be right at the same time. But also add to the context, Mr. Ivey, that this is coming off a year of virtual learning. So it makes sense because, like I said, I fought through. Shout out to Faye Rothstein. I fought through the interview and I listened. Okay, and it made sense. Like I said, if you put it all in context, like you said, it's coming off the heels of the pandemic. The school system needed to know the effects of virtual learning. Should aspects of it be made part of the regular teaching curriculum or whatever? But again, shout out to D. Wizzle because he put it in the proper perspective. He put it in the proper. How do you know if kids are following the curriculum, if they're understanding it, other than to give them an assessment, not a test? Because people freak out when they got to take a test. And you know the pressure that happens when someone says this is a test. So anyway, Mr. Ivey, the reason I call
again to that point though, if you've got a student that has anxiety over taking a test, whether they call it an assessment or a test or come up with some other name, it's still for all practical purposes, it's going to be a test of it's going to be a review or a test of their knowledge on a particular subject. So for all practical purposes, from a student standpoint, from a classroom standpoint, I don't see what the difference is. I think the difference is what they do with the information afterward. And I feel like I'm glad I had that conversation because a lot of people just eat what's in front of them without asking no questions. I don't do that. And, you know, the world, there was a time when people would die. They would swear up and down the world was flat. Right? So
that's true. That's true.
I get it. You know what I'm saying? I get that other people may not understand the way I look at it. That's cool. I'm okay with that. But you can't tell me the world is flat, and you can't tell me that in this context, a test and an assessment are not the same thing. And I think it's a minor point, quite honestly. I think it's much more bigger issue.
It is, Nate. It's very minor.
You know, inside of that conversation, I think it's a bigger issues there. But I'm here for it. I mean, like I said, maybe I'll get some more information in the future and it'll change me. But as I sit here right now, I'm skeptical. But we'll all see what happens.
Right. Now, for the reason I really call, your boy out here in Tinseltown, Hollywood, the king, LeBron James.
Yeah.
Mr. Ivey, what is wrong with this man? He just got fined by the NBA $15,000 for an obscene gesture that he did in the Indiana Pacer game when he came off the suspension for intentionally elbowing the Isaiah, I can't think of his last name, the player from the Pistons on the free throw line. I referee basketball, Mr. Ivey. That was intentional. So he got fined $15,000 for an obscene gesture. I don't know if you saw the game, but that was the same game that LeBron got two fans sitting courtside ejected.
Right.
Two white fans, a male and a female.
What was a gesture? You made a gesture to his genitals or something like that? Is that what he did?
He ran up and down like a gorilla with his hands cupping his balls. Mr. Ivey, what is wrong with LeBron? Could it be that he's facing the reality that he's coming to the end of his career and he has to show everybody how good he is? Because what he did in that game, he scored 39 points. It took overtime, but we know he ain't going to do that. He can't do that on a regular basis. He just can't do it. And this is also what I heard. I don't know if you heard this anywhere, but trust but verify. There were people who were sitting in the vicinity of the two fans that LeBron got ejected. Now, when the report happened, nobody knew what the two fans said. No reporters went to them afterwards, no social media to find out what they said. LeBron never said what they said. So the next day on Undisputed with Skip and Shannon, Skip goes off and Shannon defends LeBron because Shannon claims he knows what the two fans said. So yesterday in a news report, when they reported the $15,000 fine, they said that people close in the vicinity said that the two people said, quote, "We hope your son, Bronny, dies in a car crash." Now, again, I don't know if that's what they actually said. People are trying to find out what these two people said to make LeBron eject them. And Shannon Sharp said he won't reveal what it was, but Skip made him admit that it wasn't racial. So do you think, Mr. Ivey, that LeBron should have had those two fans ejected for saying, "We hope your son dies in a car crash"? And again, explain to me what is going on with your boy LeBron doing those sophomoric high school gestures. Maybe he needs to quit going to so many high school games because he looked like a fool running around like a monkey holding his ball. Now, that's all I got. Thank you for giving me the time, Mr. Ivey. But please explain to the people why LeBron had those people ejected for allegedly saying, "We hope your son dies in a car crash." That's all I got. Stop Squad 52, also known as the Black Not Democrat. I'm out.
Appreciate the call, man. You're leveling up with every call. So I wasn't at the game, but I am aware there was two white fans sitting courtside. I've never sat courtside at a NBA game. How much are those courtside tickets? Let me look it up right now. They pricey. Are we talking thousands of dollars? NBA game courtside. Anybody ever sat courtside before? I can't afford to. I tell you. Let me see. Can't afford to do it. I'll be up honest with you, straight up. How much is a floor seat? Courtside tickets in an NBA game will range from $300 to $50,000. So from that's a big ass range right there. So that doesn't really tell me too much. But so he got two fans arrested because they were saying some things allegedly about his son. Do I think that crosses the line? I do think it crosses the line. Like you talking about you wishing death on somebody's son and all that kind of stuff. Like I don't go to work to be disrespected like that. Yeah, you're going to jeer at me and sneer at me and wish I missed free throws and yell every time I shoot a shot. And you might talk about my ball spot or my movie. Yeah, that movie sucked. Or, your shoes are ugly. But I just feel like even when you pay thousands of dollars, there's a level of dignity that you need to bring to the game, right? And just because you sit in courtside don't mean you can say anything you want to say. So he got him kicked out. In terms of the gesture, I missed that. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't aware of it. I think he was like doing something around his genital area, something like that, beneath LeBron, in my opinion. But who knows what the circumstance was? I don't know. You got to understand, these are grown men out there. And sometimes men do ish like this. I ain't making it right. He got fined by the NBA. He's supposed to be a role model for some people that don't have other role models. It is what it is. It is what it is. I don't have no deep thoughts about what he said or anything like that. I don't really know. But I appreciate the call from Drop. Let's go back to the phones. Okay. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's going on, Nate?
What up, Brian?
Brian.
What's up, Brian? Welcome, man.
Hey, glad to be here, man. Glad to listen, be in the background, checking it out. Well, I get to have some commentary on something that's not as political, which I enjoy. I'm a baller from way back, like I know you are, even though we never met each other on the court at any point. Maybe before life expires, we'll find a court. But I want to talk about this LeBron thing because it's really annoying, and it's people who don't ball, like Skip and like some other people on this line, that don't understand how this works. LeBron was posted up right next to the free throw line. The shot goes up. Old dude whose name I can't remember right now wrapped him up and started pushing him towards the free throw line. This is regularly. He wraps his arm up, starts pushing him towards the free throw line. LeBron starts to keel over sideways And when he does, he rips his arm through, which everybody does. If you wrap me up on the free throw line or anywhere else, if I'm trying to get a rebound and you wrap my arm, I'm about to rip my arm through. And when he ripped his arm through, and dude who was pushing him towards the free throw line was leaning chest high. If you look at the photo, his head was chest high. So when LeBron turned his body sideways, everybody was saying, oh, he's looking at him when he did it. No, he's turning his body sideways because he's falling over, and he rips his arm through. And as soon as he ripped it through and saw, oh, man, I hit his actual face like you normally would. Oh, my bad, dude. You didn't realize how bad it was. These are strong individuals. You know what I mean? So that's what happened. And then all the drama afterwards happened because, like you said, you get hit in the face, whether it's legal or not legal, you're mad. And, you know, you get even more mad when you see your blood. So people who don't play ball, I don't care if you rest it. I don't care if you comment on it. If you never really played ball with other, you know, strong men in the paint, you don't know what you're talking about. So stop. It's ridiculous. And it's one of those things that it doesn't matter in the long course of things. I'm not making LeBron's money. I'm not trying to defend him or anything like that. But it's one of those things where it aggravates you because you know how it really goes down. And none of these commentators, you know, talk about that. So got that off my chest. The other thing is on this schools situation, this interview you did, which I thought was a good interview. Any interview where you're being honest, asking tough questions, and not accepting just what people say, and you're being genuine about it, is a good interview. I thought you were respectful, but respectful doesn't mean that you just accept this idea, which this is what the society does. They put fancy words on things to hide what they really are. And this happens with job titles. This happens with all kinds of things where, you know, just say what it is. I mean, you can call it material removal if you want, but if you're not paying the person more, or if you're not taking gestures to actually pay them more, or everyone is now an executive assistant, or everybody is now an assistant manager, like, no, you're still paying them crap, and you just give them a title for satisfaction purposes. So to me, a test is a test. If you're looking at it from the point of view of the student, who then has to prepare for that. But I have two issues with it that I wrote about in the chat, which is, and there's a reason why some teachers don't like this. But you can say all you want. We're just trying to find out where they are. We're trying to find out where the students are. But if part of your plan is not a tangible addition of teacher resources to then tackle those issues where people are short of where you want them to be, then it is just testing. If there's no real plan to add teachers, because if a majority of the class doesn't understand basic algebra, then you can hone in on the whole class's shortcomings on basic algebra. But if 60% or 70% or whatever percentage you need, the school board and the Board of Education needs for your class to be legitimate, for you to get the money, et cetera, if that number is 70 or 75, whatever that percentage is, and 25% or 10% don't understand basic algebra, but the rest do, where are the resources for that 10%? Where's the proposal to bring them up to speed with everybody else? They don't exist. The expectation is then the teachers are responsible with the class sizes they have, the number of classes they have, et cetera, to focus on that minority. And the resources just aren't there for that to happen, that I see. You show me that, you show me and say, okay, in classes where kids underperform on these so-called assessments, we're going to provide another teacher or another teacher's assistant. We're going to pay for that in order to bring everybody up to speed. Cool. But if you're just assessing or testing or whatever term you want to use, fine, you get the information, but you've done nothing to solve what you just unearthed. That's kind of how I see it. And to me, that was coming through in the interview, that there wasn't a lot of talk about that, about how do you then address the shortcomings of these students if it's not a majority where the teacher can then just focus, the same teacher can focus on the whole class. If it's a minority, how do you deal with that? So thank you for that interview. Again, I don't have kids myself, so one can say I don't have kids, skin in the game, but I got plenty of nieces and nephews, and I take that very seriously, their education and the education of my friends' kids. So as far as other comments that were made, like, I don't deal with sophomore stuff or debate people who don't want to be factual. So we'll just let that be what it is. Peace be upon them. Let their flows continue unharmed. I don't really care. Have a good day, man.
All right, appreciate the call. That's Brian taking the high road, man. Taking the high road. And then since we brought it up, I didn't plan on getting back into this conversation. I thought it was behind us, but I'm here for it if people want to talk about it. My perspective is the students. I'm not pro teacher. I'm not pro administration. I'm pro students. You know what I'm saying? Because I have a child that's in the first grade and I have a child that's in the 11th grade. So she'll be out in a year. And then next year, my son will just be taking the next step. So I can't not pay attention to what CPS is doing. It means too much. It's just too important. You know what I'm saying? John, hold on, man. I got one line. Call me right back. We got a caller coming up. So that's my perspective on it. But I'm always interested in hearing what people think. I really am. And, I've heard all kinds of things that relates to this. I mean, on some levels, I've heard this is about the superintendent or the interim superintendent, who I was just having lunch with a non-Black person, someone whose opinion, who I think has a very educated opinion, very intelligent person. And this person was talking about the interim. What's her name? Tia Amat is her last name. I've never met her. This person was saying good things about her. I was like, I keep hearing all these good things about the interim superintendent. So at this point, my viewpoint about her is based upon what I've heard. I don't have any personal experience, but I've heard on some levels that perhaps all of this stuff was about her. I don't know how that works. But what I will say is, and Brian says something that I thought he said it better than I did. People, they add all this language to try to dress stuff up to distract from what it really is. And I don't know if that's what's happening with CPS as it relates to these new testing. I don't know. What I will say is what I said before, is that, people are sick and tired, about what's happening with CPS. Parents are sick and tired. The community is sick and tired. I know CPS is sick and tired on some levels, right? They want to see better outcomes. And, we want to see you try something. So if this is in the spirit of you trying something, let's wait and see. And one thing is for certain, despite my opinion or anybody else's opinion, time will tell us. That's for sure. In a year and a half, 2 years, we'll have enough evidence, data, whatever you want to call it, to sit back to assess as to whether this is really having an impact or not. And then we can have another conversation about it. But let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, dear brother. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good morning, Sister Iris. Welcome.
Good. Thank you. I was trying to call in because, as you know, I follow right behind you with a further discussion with the administration of Cincinnati Public Schools to understand what I didn't get from your interview and from previous conversations with high-ranking officials in the Federation of Teachers, in the administration, and some of the board members, and then some of my close individuals that I listen to around education, whether they have served on the board of education, whether they served as a teacher, math curriculum director for Cincinnati Public Schools, whether they have served as a principal. I went across the gamut and we need to unpack what has happened. And it's more than just the assessment, which is not a test in this instance, because, Nate, the reason that did not come across in your interview was why the assessment. Why is the administration asking for this assessment? Why? The question is due to learning loss with COVID-19. I want to put a period right there because we're almost into 2 years. And don't have, my children are grown now and gone through CPS, but I now have grandchildren in CPS, and I am a taxpayer, and I am concerned about Black children, which make up 60% of Cincinnati public schools. Some of the things that I heard Dr. Brown say, when I hear Dr. Brown saying equity issues, I need to tune in to what that means and why that means as it relates to learning loss due to COVID-19. I needed to further understand, dear brother Nathan Ivey, what was the contention between the Federation of Teachers and the administration, and why was all this negativity going out into the public as it related to this particular assessment due to learning loss because of COVID-19? Now, we all know that the students went through a lot of ups and downs, online, in, out, back in. Some kids didn't have the technology. Some kids didn't have internet. Some kids didn't have parents home. Some kids didn't have teachers who were familiar with the process. So there were a lot of variables that went into this that needed to be assessed in order to figure out where each individual child is at currently, so that you interrupt the opportunity for continuous learning loss, as we know has happened for damn near decades inside of Cincinnati public schools. This ain't nothing new. So that's the second big point that we need to underscore, that this is not new. Not all children inside of the district are learning and learning on their level. So we have to listen for information and not just to respond, but to understand what's the science behind what folk are saying. Third point, I asked Dr. Brown, because I had Dr. Brown on Woke Wednesday last week with the math manager, your math curriculum manager, Dr. Williams is her name. And then all of a sudden, Nathan Ivey, all of these folks appeared from the Cincinnati Federation of Teachers on Woke Wednesday. I specifically wanted to talk with the administration to understand the assessment and why. What are they seeing? What are their thoughts? The first question I asked Dr. Brown was first off, because I think we get it confused of the role of the administration, the role of the federation, the role of the school board. What is that crime triangle? And I call it that because if these entities aren't working together, our children suffer. And the data's already told us that. I don't have to guess at it. I don't have to go look at the state report card. It's been saying this before COVID. So what we have is a tremendous opportunity because COVID exposed a lot of things. I have a child that's been working at Roadshow. He attends one of our very public high schools. You know what he just said to us yesterday? I wish I knew where I was at. I wish I knew where my scores were. Where am I? What do I need to do in order to graduate? That's what the child said, because the child doesn't know where the child is in order to graduate. Now, if the problem is, because I've heard several things and I've had several conversations with the federation, with teachers, with principals, with administrators, to understand, because it is our children. Don't get it twisted. It is our children that is not receiving the on the grade level learning that they should in the first place. It is our children that were suffering due to COVID from all those variables that I talked about. It is our children that have historically been left behind, no matter what program has been put in place. So what I heard was an opportunity to do things differently. I think one person in the chat said something that vexed me when you had your interview, and that was Susan. It sounds as if the administration is trying to find out what teachers are teaching, because there is no standard of where teachers are. Everybody's just doing whatever they want to, based on what they know, based on who they are, and based on what your child is. So how do we know collectively what's being taught across the district? How do we know? How do we know? We don't. Dr. Brown said to you that this was an equity issue. And what COVID has done was expose these issues in the greatest extent feasible. So what they believe, based on models that have been done across the United States, that have raised standards so that children learn, because this is about children learning. Now, hold on to that, Nathan. So I said to you, CFT came on to work Wednesday. I purposefully didn't want them on because I could hear the banter, right? I could hear it. And I just simply wanted the community to understand why the assessment was being done. It has been done. You know, it's been going on all year, right? Did you know that? Did you know the assessment has been going on all year? Yeah. So it's been going on all year. So why is it now that the Federation is making an issue about it? And why can't the people that I put inside that crime triangle get together and figure this out without having the bantering in public, pointing fingers at each entity, and ain't nobody producing a damn thing yet? But the children are losing. So while everybody says it's about the kids, if you go back on my Facebook page and you listen to the Federation, and I ain't mad at them, because somebody didn't tell the sister, don't come on Woke Wednesday with the BS. I wanted to have a dialogue with the administration about why the assessment due to COVID and learning loss. And then what?
So you didn't have anybody on from CFT?
They came on. They came on, but they weren't invited to banter back and forth. I didn't want that. I wanted to understand from the administration that's their job to do that, to figure out where our children are, and then how to interrupt the opportunities of more learning loss. If we don't assess now to figure out what's missed, and then because kids were passed on, they're going to get passed on some more. That has happened. We've seen it happen. Children are graduating and can't read on the level that they should. They can't go further in life. And so if we're not about that, then what is it that we are about? And I heard the argument of we test too much. Okay, well, so let's figure out which damn test don't we need? Because not one of those assess due to learning loss. Tell me which assessment is out there, whether it's from the feds, the states, or locally when the teachers assess children. I assess my children all the time, and they grow. I still assess them. But tell me which of them don't work so we can remove that from the argument. Because we do need to know whether children are based on what happened in 2020 and 2021. And we cannot allow for the continuation to miss the opportunity to not do this. We can't, when I heard the child say to me, Miss Iris, I need to know where I am, I said, bingo, that's exactly what we're talking about. But I think the bigger problem, Nate, for me, is that the bantering back and forth, the missed opportunities to trying to figure this out, because I didn't hear CFT come up with a plan, and these are the teachers. That don't mean the teachers represent the students. So I just want everybody to understand that. The Federation represents teachers. It is your job to represent your child. It is your job to make sure that your child is getting every instruction on every level so they can move to the next. It is your child to understand what the administration is putting in place. It is your child. It's your responsibility to make sure that your child is getting the same opportunities as the children at Walnut Hills. That's another part of the problem. We have these very public schools that are private in nature. And my child went there, so I know what it's about. But not all high schools are the same level as Walnut Hills. So how do we get there? So I see this as an opportunity, not an opportunity to point fingers and say, oh, well, you don't know. Because it took Dr. Brown a lot to get to where he is. He was a teacher, a principal, school administrator, evaluator of systems, went on to Morgan State, doing assessments there, and came back to Cincinnati Public as a principal that saved the elementary school that was slated to be torn down, demolished, where Black children were because of the low scores, because of no parental involvement, because it was deemed that it wasn't worthy. He came back and in 3 years turned the school around. That's the model. That's what he used. That's what he used. So we've seen it. And we see some children in some of our schools doing their own assessment. And that was part of the report from the interim superintendent, Tiane Amat. I like Dr. Amat. I like Dr. Amat because she is courageous. I like Dr. Amat because she's pushing. I like Dr. Amat because she understands the systems and the players in the game. And I like Dr. Amat because she's taken a very progressive approach to the learning loss due to COVID. That's all we talked about last year. Children not having the internet, children not having the technology, children not having people at home to help them. That's all we talk. Now, whose fault is that? Who owns that crime? So there was a lot of things that happened. But what I didn't appreciate, I must say, I did not appreciate. But I like folks that think they can spit their game. Coming on Woke Wednesday, the Federation coming on Woke Wednesday, turning this into a them, us versus them. That's not what it's about. If we're talking about the children, if everybody's in service to the children, that wasn't what the conversation was, and it got contentious.
Oh, I like contentious.
And their lawyer on, and Miss Phelps came, and some more folk came, so they came to fight. I'm like, yo, we're not fighting today.
I got to tap into
I'm
that.
trying to problem solve.
I got to tap in. It's still up on your Facebook page, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, it still is.
Oh, I got to tap into
still
it.
Is.
I didn't tap in over
definitely.
the weekend. I had time, but I want to tap in and see if I can glean some more from it because, I like the banter. We might be different at Iris. I like a little banter as long as it don't get out of hand, because I think that's when we can really get what's really going on. I like to hear the two sides, debate. I ain't trying to be nasty with it and be disrespectful, but I don't mind a debate. So I'm definitely going to tap in and see if I can learn some more.
Tap in and take a listen. Banter is good, I can do it, but when it comes to the children, and there's been so much put out there, and I still don't understand, and maybe you can, or somebody can tell me why we got to fight about it, as opposed to them folk inside that triangle coming together to figure this thing out, because we have an education problem. It is a civil rights issue. It is an equity issue. We got problems. And then my last point, and I said this to the Federation of Teachers, please don't tell me our teachers are good teachers or effective or know how to teach or culturally competent. Don't do that. I'm a parent of 3 and a grandmother of 5. I stay in the schools. Don't do that. So there's room.
We know that ain't true.
There's room for growth for everybody. But do we have to fight about it? And then, put our children on hold because we as the adults, the ones who should be making the damn decisions, can't come together and do our jobs? These folks have jobs to do. And someone said, Nathan, well, the administration said if you don't teach, then, they're going to fire you. You should be fired if you don't. You should be fired if you're not held to a standard. We should raise the level of standard and stop going for the bottom of the barrel. I'm sorry, brother. You were going to say something?
No, go right ahead. I was just going to say that I think both are true. I think that, we want to always push the conversation in a positive way, but we're not going to get to where we're trying to get there if every conversation is polite. Some of that's going to have to be, I won't say confrontational, but it's going to have to be unapologetic. Especially if you're trying to search for understanding. And in my case, I'm genuinely trying to figure this all out, like live on the air. So if it came across a certain way, and I said it to them, that's not my intention, but this is my true energy. You know what I'm saying? The road toward a better CPS is not going to be with a whole bunch of polite conversations. It ain't going to be that way. I
agree.
Sometimes it's going to be, and you know this, I'm learning from you, sis. Sometimes it's going to be unapologetic and you ain't taking this don't make sense. Make this make sense for me. So I think there's room for both of those. So I'm interested. I'm going to tap into it. And would you mind if I play some of that on the show? If I decide
absolutely to? Not.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely not. Yeah, absolutely not. You definitely can play it. I think what I offered and what I asked of them is that let's take these forums and let's educate and build, because we all the choppers had a lot to say and a lot of questions. And I think what happens when the banter occurs is that we can't get answers to our questions. I don't mind bantering, but I want to get answers to the questions.
Right.
So I want to know, why was this put in place, Dr. Brown? Tell me why that you all, as the man that's in charge of this, of what this looks like, why was this put in place? And I think that listening to your interview and then having them on Woke Wednesday gave me more in depth into the philosophy of why they were doing it and who had asked for it. These were some resolutions that had been passed at the board level to get this done. So it wasn't that they were just doing this off the, because they wanted to. So there were some things that had occurred. And then learning those things and how this process works and gives you a better understanding as to why. And then what can we do? And I do think that we need to look at the entire apparatus of education and how it is deployed and allocated and what resources are where and who gets what. I mean, education drives a lot of things. The data from education, what our children know, drives a lot of things. And we need to understand that, but we need to be bigger advocates of having equity in resources and equity in the best across the district and not just at some of our schools. So I heard a lot of great things on your interview. I heard some greater things on Woke Wednesday, but I think what really concerned me was the banter, and I could see it that it ain't polite behind the doors, dear brother. And not when you listen to Woke Wednesday and you see the two entities. It's not polite behind doors.
Okay, you got me.
And
I'm interested.
Yeah,
I'm
so
interested.
definitely. But I think there is room. I think there's room for folk to weigh in on this, and that's another thing that I do like about the intro is that she's asking for us to come in and bring it, and bring your thoughts, bring your bodies, bring your minds, bring your hearts, and bring your souls in service to the babies and in service to making the district the best. So I think we owe that to the children, and I don't mind fighting and bantering about it, but don't come on Woke Wednesday think you're going to take over. That ain't going to happen either.
And that's what I'm all about. See, I'm all about making the district better. And my route might not look like your route, but if your conclusion is my conclusion the same, then it's all love. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? And despite my still remaining skeptical, I have to believe and want to believe that all these good people in the district want the best. Why else would they be there? So we will see. Time will tell.
Some people do this as a default job. Some people can't make it someplace else.
That's true.
Some people come here and I've gone up against some teachers and some listening to parents and being a parent and working with parents.
Oh, me too.
And I started out my conversation by telling the Federation, I don't know if you know Iris Rowley, but so let me tell you why I can have this conversation and why I'm vested in the education of Black children. Make no mistake, of Black children. And I want to understand why this assessment due to COVID, learning loss due to COVID, why is it being deployed? How long has it been out there? What is the assessment for? And it's bigger than just, it's not for a score, but it is to see where the babies are due to the learning loss. Who don't want that? Who don't want to know where their child is? Who don't want that?
Also, how do we judge whether it's working or not? See, that's the other thing. In a year, how do we judge whether this investment during the school day is worth it? I need to know that as well. But again, Dr. Brown said that he was willing for us to connect on a personal level, and maybe I can just glean some information because as a parent, I'm concerned. I want to know as much as possible.
Definitely.
So I'm looking forward to all of that.
I say, dear brother, you have CPS in just like you need to have juvenile court in, just like we all need to be tapping into these systems to understand where the clogs are and how do we help them begin to fix it. What is it that we want them to see about our children? We are the experts there. I have a PhD in all three of them. I got masters in my grandkids. I'm working on PhDs, but they're still growing up. Mm-hmm. But there isn't much you can tell me about my children. But we need to be able to work with the teachers so that they can learn effectively and they can live the lives that they want to. That's what this is about. And when I heard Dr. Brown say this was an equity issue, my ears perked up. And I needed to know where are the inequities and where do they lie. We already know that our district ain't all that it's supposed to be based on the state report cards. So we know that learning loss, we know that barriers, we know that racisms, we know that all the things that could go wrong are going wrong and have been going wrong for a very long time. That is not Iris Rowley just trying to make something up. That is what the numbers say. It's what the data say. So I'm interested in getting down with that and figuring out how to make this better so that the children that I can't touch can feel the reach of our touch. The children that don't have people advocating for them have people advocating for them, whether we know them or not. That's what I'm about. But Nathan, I definitely take a listen. Make sure you have the administration come in and then ask the Federation, what is their plan to assess the learning loss? They're poo-pooing on this, but what's your plan? I never got there. They never said that. They just talked about the time, the 19 minutes. They talked about missing the instruction time. They pointed out all the things wrong. They never talked about anything that was right, and they never said what they were going to do to assess children due to the learning loss. And if we think there isn't one, they talked about testing anxiety, talked about all that. I don't know where that came from because we were taught to learn and to tackle anything that was put in front of us. So that was the expectation. And the expectation was that you had teachers that were going to teach you. And if they didn't, somebody was going to check them. That's how I grew up. And we were put in another class. So there are a lot of variables in this here thing we call education and learning of our children that we really need to be knee deep in and serious about. So I'm looking forward to having more conversations, Nathan, and I'll banter when it's time. I wasn't planning on bantering last Wednesday. I needed to learn some things that I didn't know, and I did not appreciate the Federation coming in trying to take over Woke Wednesday. But they can come; they're welcome anytime. Just let me know when to bench. I wasn't ready. I just got back, from vacation. I wanted to learn. I didn't want to argue, but it is what it is. I just want to chime in and give you my 2 cents on it.
I'm glad you did.
Brother.
See, that's that good local Black media piggybacking off of each other's interviews, learning, and you just building and growing, and you get a better sense of what to ask. So I appreciate you.
I appreciate you on the choppers. Thank you so much.
Most definitely.
Oh, and Nathan, I'm gonna call you back this week on the chief search. Some more things that we're putting together from the mayor-elect around public safety, and around the collaborative agreement, the MAG. It is just a lot of stuff that's going on. So I definitely will be calling you later on in the week.
All right, most def. All right, thank you for the call.
Thank you so much. Have a powerful day.
Yep, and tap into Woke Wednesday. My ears are open. I want to hear the banter. I like the drama. I want the drama. I'm here for it. But again, my interest is just a better Cincinnati. I keep saying it. I love Cincinnati. I love this city. I was born here. Everybody I know is here. My family's here. My business is here. All my friends are here. Most of the choppers are here. I'm 100% about anything that pushes this city forward in a positive way. I'm here for it. And the road toward that better Cincinnati will be filled with a lot of really nice conversations. But I don't shy away from the not so nice conversations and shit. We are not going to polite conversation our way to a better Cincinnati. It is not going to happen. It is impossible. That's what got us here right now. But what do you think? 513-873-7134. I mean, I stand by what I said, but I want to hear everything. And Dr. Brown, if you're listening, I most certainly will reach out and try to hook up a time for us to meet so I can just learn. I never act like I know more than I really need. I know. I don't need to do all of that. What I don't know, I'm ignorant about. What I know, then I know. Simple as that. But I'm always open to learn. Let me circle back around because we feel like we follow so much ground this morning. I haven't been with you since in a week, which is very unusual. When was the last time I took a week away from the show? Hell, I've been sick and didn't go away. I do the show sick. Sick as a dog. Doing the show, you'll never know. Because I don't like to be away from this. I love being with you every single day. Every single day. I loves this. I miss this. But we kicked off the show talking about, I was sharing with you 3 things that I've learned about young Dolph since his death. And rest in power to that brother right there. He seemed like he made a way for himself and was cut down way too early in life. And I shared those 3 things with you. Also, we talked about that new Kevin Hart. I waste my money and my time so you don't have to. I will waste my time and money so you, my audience, don't have to do that. And I'd have to say, in my humble opinion, this new Netflix series called True Story, starring Kevin Hart, you see there on the left, and also Wesley Snipes, who plays his older brother on the right, is worth your time. Even if you're not a West, and especially If you're not a Kevin Hart, Wesley Snipes fan, especially, some tells me that if you're not a Kevin Hart fan, like you don't really watch all of his stuff and hip to what he does, you'll probably like it even more. Because when you're really hip to somebody, it's hard to not see them in other characters or who they typically present themselves to be. But essentially, Kevin Hart plays the kid. That's the weakest part of the movie is his name, the kid. But okay, he plays the kid who is a big time entertainer, comic, actor. He's doing a lot of different things. He's got a big blockbuster action movie called The Antiverse that's, killing in the theaters. You know what I'm saying? At the time that this scenario goes down. And his older brother's got one foot in the streets and one foot in his pocket. Well, he's got one foot in the street and one hand in his pocket, meaning that younger bro has been subsidizing the life of older bro, right? And this story is really about the relationship between these two black men. And as a black man, I'm here for it. It ain't no damn love story. They ain't selling no dope. I'm here for it. And I thought that it was interesting. It's a different look at Kevin Hart, for sure. There's some funny parts in it. So non-spoiler review, it starts like this. Kevin is on the eve of a big come up. He's got a big movie, or the kid played by Kevin Hart is on the eve of this is his moment. All his hard work has led to this moment. He's got the biggest movie in the theaters. It's about to surpass the $1 billion mark. He's a world superstar, famous everywhere he go, entourage, the whole 9 yards. And he goes back home to Philadelphia to do a show, and he links up with his brother. Him and his brother go out for a night of drinking with the fellas, and he wakes up with a strange woman in bed with him. And I'll leave it like that. And then the story takes off after that. And all I'm saying is they killing the cliffhangers and the opening, the intros, they killing it on Netflix, man. That's what draws you in. You like, I'm just going to watch one more episode. They hit you with that cliffhanger. You like, damn, let me just see how the next episode starts. You watch that intro. You like, damn, I guess I'll cook food later. And you got to watch another episode. And this is no different. And then we got to a conversation about something that I can see now is really, really hella important. So I'm going to definitely make sure I make that available and very easily accessible. And when you see that clip go out, if you care, just share it, on all the Facebook groups and check it out for yourself. For anybody that's related to Cincinnati Public Schools, so they can just get, some more insight, and then tap into what Sister Iris is doing with Woke Wednesdays as well, and check out her interview. Me, more is more. More is more. For far too long, our community has been underrepresented in the media. Now, why can't we be overrepresented? I don't know why. I don't see no reason why not. I see no reason why not. Now, over the weekend, we didn't have any of the CDM podcasts because I was out of town. I had planned to put up a previously aired show for Straight Talk, but I wasn't able to because I couldn't get no signal. I couldn't get no internets at all. It just wasn't working. But it's up right now. So I don't know if you want to call it a rebroadcast because it's a little bit different. Like in terrestrial radio, let's say that the host is not going to be there, right? You still got this time to fill because it's terrestrial radio. And so they may get an old show and put it in its place. The internet is different. Like all of these shows are still up for your consumption. You can watch any show we ever did. Just cycle back through our Facebook page. Watch it anytime you want to. But I did re-put it back out there and shared it for everybody yesterday. It was a conversation that Edna Howe had with Ken Lawson, which I thought was a very good conversation. It was good to hear from Brother Ken, man. It's good to hear from Ken Lawson. I thought it was an excellent conversation. And then we didn't do a Melanin Insights podcast. But again, if you're like, what's Melanin Insights? You should tap in with Britt and Cass. Get you a glass, kick back, kick it with the ladies. They talking that ish and really talking, their honest perspectives from the perspective of Black women. So if that's your kind of thing, check it out. And then make sure you check out Brother Christian Boykin with the Echo Chamber podcast on Monday evenings at 8 p.m. Check out what the brother's doing, man. So a little something for everybody. And we got some new things that we're working on as well. What's up, Kamara? Good to see you. She writes, Young Dolph was one of the few that invested so much in his community. And that's it. That's exactly one of the things that I started to learn about young Dolph after his death. I admit to you, I was not into him at all. I was aware of him, but I had never listened to any videos that I heard the Cut It song, but I didn't realize that was him. But I'm listening to more of the videos, and then I'm watching his interviews. I'm like, wait a minute, I like this brother. I like the way this brother's handling himself. I like this. And somebody was like, well, he shouldn't have been going back. You can't go back to the hood. That's for scary people. Everybody ain't scary like that. You know what I'm saying? I got money. Everybody, I'm a target. You might say that's smart. I don't know. I don't know whether that's smart or not. All I'm saying is I respect the fact that young Dolph was still prominent in his community. I respect that. Now, if that's what got him killed, I can't say that. I don't know. If somebody want to get you, they're going to get you, whether you live in a cul-de-sac in a neighborhood and you live in your old neighborhood or you live in a new neighborhood. If they want to get you, they're going to get you. Anybody can get got. It don't matter who you are. If somebody's willing to die for it or to go to jail for it, anybody can get got. I mean, look, they kill U.S. presidents. So if you just a rapper, a rap artist from Memphis, Tennessee, you can definitely get got. But I just been reading more and more about the culture in Memphis, man, from people from Memphis, and it's like a lot of haterism. I'm like, damn, why? I'm different, man. I want to rep people from Cincinnati. I see somebody doing something, even in the same space. I'm like, okay, keep doing what you do, bro. Love it, sis. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I'm different. I think many of you feel the same way. But it's that racism, the legacy of slavery. Only a few can be the chosen ones, and all this kind of stuff. And if he's succeeding, that means I can't succeed, and all this kind of goobly got nonsense that really keeps our community from reaching our apex. I don't believe in none of that. For me, I believe the opposite. If I see somebody doing, I'm like, oh snap, they just showed me the blueprint. Cool, I keep doing it. Maybe I can do my own thing. That's just me. Janice writes, Ricky Smiley has been shot 2 times and his daughter was shot twice last year. Damn, I didn't know that. Huh. Damn, where's Ricky Smiley from? Somewhere down south? Damn, really? Didn't know that. Sad to see. Kamar writes, he was shot in 2017, so this was very intentional. Yeah, I mean, again, I just watched a bunch of videos, man, and I love YouTube. I love the internet because you can watch all these videos at any time. There's so many great people doing great stuff, man. I mean, I could spend all day, kind of, just watching videos if you wanted to, And I was at my in-laws, and, at some point you hit the bottom of the well with the conversation once you catch up and you're just kind of sitting there. I'm like, I love it. I love being around my people, seeing everybody happy and healthy. But then I need to get into my own thing. And I started tapping into just watching, catching up on stuff and it's like that. So a classy one writes, I bet you Dolph died over drug deal gone wrong. It didn't appear to be that way. It appeared to me like two gunmen jumped out of a white, I think it was a white Mercedes or BMW, murdered him, jumped back in the whip and ran away. Ain't no telling, man. Some of the hardest dudes in the world sometimes act so sensitive, and you never can tell, man. Ego, I'd probably say it was ego, money, a woman. Those might be the same thing. I don't know, man. Dale writes, I've been to Memphis. Some areas are real depressed. Other areas real nice. Reminded me of Dallas, Texas. You see, Brent writes, it cost him his life, though, right? Lisa writes, everybody is not moved by money. That's exactly right. Jericho writes, geez, fame, Rothstein. Let me see. Anime writes, watch your mouth, fame. Yeah, he was talking crazy about Dolph saying that. I mean, that's just, fame fame is the black sheep. He's a special one. We already know that. He a little different. I wouldn't like him anyway. I like him just the way he is. I like him that's my brother. He can say what he want to say. Even when he talking about me. Makes me no difference. He can have his opinion. I just didn't know where he was coming from. It didn't really make a lot of sense, but it is what it is. Gladys writes, he had over 100 owned property and his family will be blessed from generation to generation. Hopefully so. Jared writes, Dolph wanted ownership of his art. What's wrong with that? Right. What's wrong with saying if somebody offered you $20 million for your art, you better believe it's worth more. You better believe that. You better believe it's worth more than that, or they wouldn't be offering you $22 million. I heard the brother in an interview, I think it was Hot 97. He explained it all. He didn't really get deep into it. I take it back. He didn't get into the details. I take it back. It was the Breakfast Club. He was with the Breakfast Club. He didn't get in details. But the little bit he said, I'm like, shit, I mean, he must know better. You know what I'm saying? Jerica writes, Chappelle turned down more money. Exactly, Jerica. Chappelle turned down 50 mil because he didn't want to be involved with that. He didn't like the way the act was going. He thought it was on some monkey-ish. I don't want to be no monkey for no money. I respect that. I got to act like a monkey in order to make 50 million bucks. I don't want 50 million bucks, especially when I already got millions coming in from other means. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like Dave Chappelle was broke or that was the difference between him being rich or not. He was going to be rich either way. When you got a few mil in the bank, I mean, I don't have a few mil in the bank, but if I had a few mil in the bank, I mean, I'm going to be the same OG. I mean, I ain't going to do nothing that makes me look bad. And I don't care how much money you're talking about because we living good. We comfortable. So why would I play myself for a few dollars more? I don't get it. Come on, Rice, man. Self-hate is real. Like the profile pic, sis. All you do is diss black people. Thank you, Kamara. I've been saying that about that black man for the longest. All you do is diss black people. Listen, before we end the show this morning, and time just kind of got away with us. We started a little bit late, but damn, where'd the last 2.5 hours go? All great calls. All great calls. I want to remind you about my friends over at the Ohio Kings. They've got their season opener. Hold on. Their season opener is coming up this Saturday at 6 p.m. over at the Cincinnati State Technical and Community College. That's at 3520 Central Parkway here in Cincinnati. Now, general admission is $10. Courtside VIP is $20. Here's what you get for $20. You also get free access to concessions. Kids 12 and under, you get in free. That means it's a family affair. You ain't got to pay for the little ones. Go in, get you a good seat. You can purchase the tickets at ohio-kings.ticketbud.com right now. A6, thank you for the share. Malcolm, Callie, thank you for the shares. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. They're also doing free haircuts for the kids. So, get this. Not only do the kids under 12 and under get in free, you can get a free shape up. And Mayor-elect Abtab Pureval will toss the ceremonial jump ball. Masks are required. Masks are required. Just keep everybody safe. So that's the Ohio Kings versus the Cincinnati Movement. That's this Saturday, December 4th at 6 p.m. And they are locally black owned. Locally black owned. The Ohio Kings are locally black owned. If you've never gone to a game, but you like basketball, trust me, go check it out. Go check it out. Take the fam, take your partners in them. You might have a friend. It might be a family member. Take them over, have a good time, relax, laugh, root on your Ohio Kings, and support a locally black-owned business. I love what they're doing. I wish them nothing but the best. This is a lot of fun, man. We need more of this in Cincinnati. We need more, not less. Also, Who Dey Nation can say whatever they want to say, but don't talk about black coaches. Black Bengal fans should never utter a word against the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I was on Twitter and I saw people like, oh yeah, y'all got a horrible coach. I was like, pump the brakes. No, they don't. Mike Tomlin is a dope coach. He is super good, very successful at what he does, and one of the few black head coaches that we got. So we might yesterday, this whole week, we're going to revel in beating the Steelers because Steeler fans are obnoxious as hell. Where you at, CG Dub? Are you a Steelers fan? Where's CG Dub at? Where you at? Where my Steeler fans at? God dang it, I can't help but love you. because you're part of the family. But I don't like this. But the one thing we cannot do is talk about Mike Tomlin. We cannot be a part of anything that goes against black head coaches in the NFL. So we whooped the Steelers, but it ain't his fault. It's not his fault. It is not his fault. He stays. Talking about Mike Tomlin like that. Oh, you want to see it again, ladies? I can hear the ladies. Here you go. Here it is. Somebody out there is like, I wish he played that photo one more time. There you go. He can be your play husband. There you go. You got it in. He's the NFL version of Idris Elba. Janice writes, he tries to sound relevant, but ends by howling, shaking my head. Jerker says she's having some echo issues. Hopefully not. I hope not. Joe writes, famous wiggity is wick wick whack. A classy one writes, y'all, why black people upset about Kyle verdict? He killed his own. Well, I hear what you're saying, a classy one. I don't want to see nobody get killed that don't deserve it. Black, white, green, I don't care who they is. And that is a fair question. That is a fair question as to why black people really were watching Kyle Rittenhouse. I think it's because it's kind of like, it's that phrase, a classy one. What if he was black? I think that's what it was. Like some black people were looking at Kyle Rittenhouse like, oh, if a black guy did the exact same thing, he's going to jail forever. And so they wanted to see what kind of justice Kyle Rittenhouse was going to get. But from the jump, I always was like, I saw the video. We talked about it right here. I was like, that looks like self-defense. They came at him. That's what it looked like. So, you know, Drop writes, where's Glenn? Jared writes, I need to know more about the assessments to have a better opinion. What we have been doing isn't working, and CFT had no alternative plan. I'll say it again. For all practical purposes, from the lens of the child, test and assessment in terms of what they're doing in the classroom, there's no difference. That's just semantics. And I think it's because the district understands that if they call it a test, then they're more likely to incur some feelings from parents, because parents will say, we test to death. So when you say, oh, it's not a test, it's an assessment, it's semantics. It's goobly gop nonsense. And I ain't going to change on that. It's semantics. In terms of what it means in terms of class time. But what I will say, and I keep saying this, is we gonna find out, homie. We gonna find out at the end of this year, going into next year, with all these new assessments, we'll find out. Now, to be fair, I think that it's gonna take a couple years, if not 3 years, if they keep these assessments up, these assessments/tests up, to determine as to whether it's really gonna have a positive impact or not. I don't know if we're going to have enough data and it's going to be enough time for a year from now for us to realistically assess the impact of the assessment, right? So we'll see, but time will tell. Time will tell. But right, Jared, CFT had no alternative plan. You know, I've heard people say that. And I asked the rep from the CFT, and what she said, I can't remember every word, I'll be honest with you. But essentially, she said something like, you know, give the teachers more input, or let the teachers decide when the tests are going to be implemented. I think that's what the difference was. I think that's what she said. She was like, okay, yeah, you're going to do this, but let the teachers have some input as to when is the best time during the day, during the class time in which to implement it. And isn't that what teachers do? Teachers assess every day. We shall see. Like I said, the road toward a better Cincinnati public school is going to be paved with discussions just like this. I don't mind it. I don't mind the banter. I don't mind an argument. I don't mind an argument. If it's going to push us in the right direction, I don't mind it at all. But listen, family, I'll leave you just like this. I'll pick back up with you tomorrow morning, bright and early. We'll chop it up on everything related to people, politics, and pleasure. Have an excellent rest of your Tuesday. I hope you're feeling good as we get ready for the next holiday season. That'll be Christmas. I haven't even thought about a holiday schedule. At this point, we don't have any plans on traveling again until maybe the end of the year, around New Year's. And so I can't even tell you if the show is going to be interrupted. I do plan on doing normal scheduling throughout the month of December. And so I appreciate you. I shouted out individually and by name all of my patrons. I want to say it again. Thank you for all my new patrons and your support. You know, my plan is ambitious. You know, what you're seeing right now is just one part of my plan. My plan is very bold and ambitious. And to do that, it's going to take resources. And perhaps, you know, you might want to get on board. I like what we're doing, very much so. And I get signs every day that we're in the right place. I have no plans on going anywhere or changing anything slightly, maybe a few slight changes. But I really appreciate you. And to my patrons, make sure that you download the Patreon app. And that way, whenever I'm uploading new content, you'll get a notification and you'll get it in real time. All right. I really appreciate you. Have an excellent rest of your Tuesday. Remember our motto: winners focus on winning. Losers focus on winners. So stay focused and stay winning, and we'll talk real soon. If you want to get in contact with me, I'm highly accessible. Just hit me with direct message and I will respond immediately. Have an excellent rest of your day, fam. I'm Nathan Ivey, and I'm out. Again, have an excellent rest of your day. I wanted to make sure I shout out all my people inside the Spreaker Chop Shop: Ray, Sharp, Ashley, Miss D, Tanika, Fox. Thank you so much for being here. To all the people listening on Spreaker, on TuneIn, I appreciate you. Keep listening. We're just getting started. Until tomorrow morning, bright and early at 7 a.m., I'm Nathan Ivey, and I'm out.
Yeah. Talking to my mirror like I love you so much. Curving on my critics like I heard you, so what? You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. Tally all the I ever gave on my head. Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss. They ain't wanna help me, that's what made me a boss. You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. We don't give a that's what they don't understand.
I'm back again like flu season. I broke records while loose leafing. I'm coming down my roof, leaving. Don't give a I don't care. Did the for my lonesome. No wonder now I'm on one. No shortcuts on that long run. All I really want is my share. Get on my God, on my totem, it's nothing.